All right, so this movie came out, and everyone, all the media is like, "Oh, it's a QAnon movie. It's a QAnon movie." Well, just because QAnon or any of those retarded image boards didn't say that it's a QAnon movie doesn't make it not a QAnon movie anymore. And I think it's really important to do a very brief rundown before we get into the weird corruption, the money issues, the funding issues, the corruption going on with the film studio itself, and what this is going to lead towards. I believe is a mix of Trump trying to reignite his base and who knows whatever the next psyop was. But the two things I want to point out right off the bat is what happened. Um, I view this QAnon thing as four different steps. The first step was the corruption of the image board, which I did a video on that people can go watch. I think it's called "Fuck Q," which is fuck and then the letter Q, which explains how the 8chan board got hijacked and they put data mining software on there. That's step one. The other part about that was the targeted marketing. The targeted marketing. Oh, I see my name in chat. What's that about? 100, Michael. I assume that means I'm doing good.
Wait, what'd you say?
No, I just saw my name in chat and I'm wildly narcissistic, so I went right towards that.
Oh, well, relax.
So this is where I'm sharing the screen. So let me know if this works. So there are two things. There are two main projects that um, helped the Trump campaign and helped gather data for this QAnon psyop. One of them was called Project Alamo. Are we doing okay with the sharing
All right,
screen?
hang on, just hang on. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me pop it out. Let me put it up on the main screen. Hold on. Full screen that. How do I
Okay.
get rid of our whatever, it's fine. Hold on. Almost there.
Sure.
Okay, we're good. I'm gonna throw this up on full screen, you guys, so my beautiful face will not be here. Okay, we're good. Continue.
We're good? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, good. Yeah, now I see it. All right, so Project Alamo was um one of two major things that were going on. This was organized by the Parscale firm. So Kushner enlisted the help, and Paul Manafort, who was one of Trump's aide, hired Parscale. So they had $94 million for fundraising, and there was a fit budget for every month as well. Um, and as this was going on, so the Parscale firm raised $250 million, $250 million for Trump, primarily through Facebook. And what this would do um, would basically be targeted marketing for people who might be slightly leaning towards Trump, and they'd be able to do target marketing campaigns to focus on where they are, give them more direct advertising to make them even more, um, uh, what's the word? Even more of a fan of Trump. Not necessarily radicalize them, but make them uh, more favorite fans. The other thing that went on that these people partnered with, that Kushner and friends partnered with, was Cambridge Analytica, which was Steve Bannon's firm, another hard Trump supporter and QAnon dog whistler.
I thought that that Bannon and Trump weren't. Well, I thought he didn't like Trump anymore, or maybe I'm thinking of another fucking jerk off.
Post election, or maybe not election,
I thought
post
it was after after he got out of office. I could have swore he whatever the word is just you disconnect broke away from him. I thought.
that might have been the case. I didn't pay too much attention to Stop the Steal crowd,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as people after the 6th, or after the months after the 6th, but this is more so to break down how these kind of campaigns work, because this was about essentially not harvesting, but bellwethering the people in, kind of gathering, um, rallying the troops in who would be interested in um, voting for Trump. So first, this thing was funded by Rob Mercer and the Mercer family, which I also believe that can give me a direct answer on this. Might be Cub or Tigerkin. I believe the Mercer family was behind Who did we just talk about? James
See.
O'Keefe.
Oh,
Uh,
Keith.
yeah. So
Oh,
at first they were.
wait. Hold
At
on. Elaborate a little bit. I'm sorry to cut you off. What do you mean behind him? Like him getting
Jewish
booted,
billionaire.
or them helping him
No.
out?
Yes, funding um,
Veritas.
Project Veritas.
Okay.
Yes. So Jewish hedge fund managers, billionaire hedge fund managers.
Okay.
They formerly were supporting Ted Cruz's campaign, which I guess Maria might be able to say a thing or two about. Um,
Hmm.
'Cause she was part of that.
That's right.
Um, I don't know how many times he ran, but at least this was for the 2016 election. But when he was clearly out of the running, they jumped ship over to Trump, and Trump was the way to go. And apparently that turned out to be right. Um, what was important out of this was um, get to the Trump thing.
You're at 2015 or 16. That's all I know.
Yes, Cambridge Analytica was involved in the primaries, became known in July 2015. In December 2015, they claimed to have collected 5,000 data points over 220 million Americans. Goes over what I just said. A lot of super PACs funding. So the gist is campaigns commonly use groups like this to data mine the people involved. They data mine the people involved, figure out what they're into, and this all was going on before the election happened. After the election, come 2017, October 2017, some retard hops on poll, says that he's Q, and a bunch of other things. All the spurgs on 4chan are like, "Hey, you're a Fed. Fuck off." Um, and then the person claiming to be Q all of a sudden is like, "Whoa, hey, whoa, this place is compromised. We can't be here," because all of that. How much money was it again? $94 million plus the $250 million that was raised. Um, Also went on to buying off admins for numerous like Reddit mods and HN mods, because all of a sudden you just see Trump being spammed everywhere and advertisements for him on boards that previously was not the case. So anyway, dude freaks out and then goes to 8chan. 8chan was hijacked by Jim Watkins, another Glow N, and data mining software was there that was exposed during a hack. Point being, is you have these boomers on the internet, no offense, Maria, who don't really understand how this works, how these psych warfare operations kind of work. Like, what was it called? Project
Veritas.
Trust.
How do you not remember that? And I do.
No, what was not Project Trust, Operation Trust.
Oh, you're talking about something else. I'm retarded.
Yeah, you're familiar with Operation Trust, right, Jimmy?
Sounds familiar. I am sure I've
Yeah,
heard it before.
yeah, it was a Russian counterintelligence operation that was set up by the Bolsheviks to find out, to target anti-Bolshevik resistance. And that's basically what this was. So the other thing that inspired QAnon was I have to share a different screen. Was the Cicadia Project, which for those who remember was one sec. Was said to be ran by this guy called Thomas. Okay, is the screen being shared for one?
Yeah. I had to click, but we're good.
Okay.
Oh, a burger. I never
Let
heard
me
of
know.
this guy. Thomas Schoenberger, huh?
Yes. So okay, so you can see it.
Yeah, it's up. It's up.
All right. So he was said to be behind, um, behind the Cicadia project, which was basically a bunch of riddles that a lot of people were trying. It was a LARP,
Amy
but it was
says to
like
go undercover.
to for what part? So he was going, he was part of this project. Here we go. Cicadia 3301, which was a complicated puzzle game that first appeared online in 2012 to target highly intelligent individuals, basically a bunch of intelligent spurgs. Um, and, oh, they go into the QAnon thing here. Probably should have just read that. Um, But the interesting thing about this is, yes, it was like to target people who are really, really good at solving these autistic level problems.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people were like, well, why is this coming out? Why is it getting so much attention in certain online circles that would be ideal for recruiting? And those were all really valid questions, especially revolving around this guy who's said to be a part of it. Um, Thomas Schoenberger. I guess we'll say his name is that.
What a name.
The thing is this Schoenberger fellow has had numerous different court cases against him. And in one testimony, I believe it's this one, sharing on your screen.
I gotcha.
I'll zoom in.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, I'm good. One testimony, there's a bunch of questions being asked, and
Oh, Amy's
as we
saying
get,
some interesting shit. She says that that guy's involved with Cappy's death.
that's the probably, because I think Cappy mentioned him. If he didn't mention him,
Cappy mentioned so many people. It's hard. I mean, I didn't keep track of them all, but I wouldn't be surprised.
well, it seems like is he went through a bunch of internet harassment and whatever spooked him. This guy and maybe his group of Spurgs probably helped him out, um, driving him insane. I mean, helping him out, driving
Yeah,
him insane.
pushed him fucking over the edge, quite literally.
Hold on. There
It's
we
not
go.
too soon, guys. I'm talking to D Live here. All right, it's
It's been
sorry.
years. It's been
The
years. It's been
TOS
six-
thing. This TOS thing's gonna fuck with me for the next I don't know how long. I guess till I'm booted from
Well,
here.
what it is everyone's gonna fuck with you, which in turn is going to That's why I said D Live is just gonna rather enjoy us fucking with you, scaring you about TOS, opposed to even doing anything.
I hope that's the case.
They're your gang stalkers. It's just D Live and LA Dix, or La Dix or whatever her name is.
It's just
So-
dicks. Go on.
There was some questioning about Circadia in here, but the one question that I found the most interesting, or the series of them, or what do you mean by being in the military as a professional soldier?
Will you
Let me
highlight
rephrase-
that when you were? I see your
Yes.
cursor, but just okay. Go on.
Let me rephrase the question. Did you ever serve in the military as a professional soldier? He asked. Well, I'm going to let you tell us how you think you served in the military, or if you served in the military in any capacity. Answer, I think, and the answer is from Thomas. I think it's a broad question. I think that if you say I did, if you say did I serve in any fashion for the Pentagon? That's what you're asking. Question: do you understand what the military is? Yes. Have you ever served in the Army? No. Have you served in the Air Force? No. Or the Navy? Served in the Marines. Okay. Is there any branch of the military in which you served? The military is presided over by the Pentagon. I want to make it very clear that what you're asking. I'm wondering if you can rephrase the question.
What? I don't understand why he's telling him to rephrase the question. Never mind. Go
We're getting there. So it's okay. Well, I'll speed up a little bit.
No,
Then. It's
no,
a back
do whatever.
like trying to play that game that you so called out, and then he says, "What was your relationship with the Pentagon, if any?" I was charged with putting together a program that was going to be the basis for clandestine activities near the border of Iran. Remember Thomas or remember Iran? So the new question is, when did this charge first occur? Early 2011. So Cicadia started in 2012. Did you have written correspondence with the Pentagon about this? Yes. Do you have written correspondence in your possession, custody, or control? No, I only have one thing given to Mr. I don't know who that is. Um,
Quick question.
and
This is Triple Crown just asked who's asking these questions. Is this so? Is this just a deposition or
it's a deposition, yes.
okay?
And where was I? There it was.
Yeah.
Um, Here we go. I don't want to waste too much time on this previous preface part. So this is really relative and straightforward. Do you have a contact name at the Pentagon with whom you were communicating? The person is no longer at the Pentagon. The person's name is Bijan Khan, and he spells the name out. Okay, so he was working on an operation revolving around setting things up, clandestine activities near the border of Iran, and he was working, or his contact at the Pentagon was Bijan Khan. So, sharing a new screen now.
Okay. Let me know when it's up.
Uh,
Okay. All right, we're good.
okay. And let me know if anytime I should zoom in.
All right.
Bijan Khan was a fellow friend um, in lobbying around Turkey with Michael Flynn, who um, and they were contracted with the now shuttered firm Flynn Intel Group. Him and someone else named Nasir Kazmini. So, if you want to get down to, the whole spurginess of it, that would be the paper trail from the Cicadia guy, this Tom guy, all the way to, um, all the way to Michael Flynn and the QAnon mumbo jumbo, because QAnon would always bring up Michael Flynn. So if you want to talk
Yeah.
about their chance that all these things are connected and someone's behind it, as you have these data mining operations appointed from people from the Sanhedrin through Jared Kushner and the Parscales, and millions of dollars being funded, and then a bunch of people finding these things on data mine sites, showing them to YouTubers and putting them on Twitter, and then you have a bunch of boomers spurging over Trump, having to stop the steal movement to get everyone there, and now you have a bunch of thousands of people who are under domestic terrorist surveillance and terrorism bills, domestic terrorist bills being passed because of the events that came out of that. So, I don't want this bullshit to happen again, and I have a suspicion. I have a suspicion with this movie coming out, this Sound of Freedom movie coming out, that there's something a lot more fishy behind it. Because what I noticed, it came out on July 4th. I didn't notice much of all promotion for it. You guys might have, but right out of the bat, it's like the top movie being rated higher than Indiana Jones.
Yeah. It took in I think 83 million. I think box for the weekend. I think it popped out.
Stupid number, right? Sound.
Well, this actor and it even talked fucking adrenochrome, huh?
Yeah. So I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. Sorry.
Let's make fun of this movie a little bit more as I got you here. Actually, I got this screen pulled up, so why not? Yeah. So Jim Caviezel appeared at a convention, and let me know if the audio is playing for this.
Jim, Tim, you're playing
we
the
hear it.
role
Yeah. Okay.
of Tim Ballard, and Tim is actually continuing to save kids. I mean, you're making a movie about it, but this is what he does, and he
be here today. He was supposed to be in the room with me in right here or in Tulsa, but he's down there saving children as we speak because they're pulling kids out of the darkness.
Dude, I recall this video, by the way.
Right and dumbs and all kinds of places. The adrenochroming of children. I mean, look, where we're at right now. Hopefully, we need your prayers. This film is when Tim Ballard came down to Bogota and we had about finished 2/3 of it. I said, "Why did you pick me?" And he said, "Well, they didn't want you. They wanted someone else." But I said, "Well, I got to tell you, I did this movie Monte Cristo and The Passion, and about 2/3 of the way through, I knew we were onto something."
Well, that's it for this clip. Oh, I could go
With this film, and he goes, "Well, actually, it was those two films."
Okay, and then the second part is just where he clarifies on the adrenochrome.
You said a word a minute ago, and I want to clarify what that word was, because you said a word, and I want to make sure that you said adrenochrome.
Yeah.
And a lot of people here, there's about 4,500 people here. There's about 500,000 people streaming online. We're having some cyber attacks. That feed's been going on and off. It's a
And all these people who set up all these events always have cyber attacks going on. Granted, they're you don't know dick about technology, but
you said that word, and by a show of hands, who's heard that word before in this building? Could you please explain, to the extent that you want to or not want to, what that is? Because some people have never heard that before.
We're good.
Essentially, you have adrenaline in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce adrenaline. If you're an athlete, you get in the fourth quarter, you have adrenaline that comes out of you. If a child knows he's going to die, his body will secrete this adrenaline, and they have a lot of terms that they use that he takes me through. But it's the worst horror I've ever seen, is screaming alone, even if I never, ever saw it.
I see D-Ball in the chat saying I think Grifter was a cover. The Grifter thing was a cover for a spy turned Grifter. That's implying that he was an actual spy in the first place.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It's beyond, and these people that do it, there'll be no mercy for them. It's
okay, playing near the base, all very nice. Real quick, you are a movie aficionado, more or less, but I think you're someone that I think it's fair to say that knows the rating system of movies. Besides the fact that it's typically out of 4 stars, I just couldn't help but notice a couple of things that happened. Came out on the 4th. Don't care about the dates about it. But I tried to pay a decent attention to conservative media because I know a handful of people who involved in it on a local level and in different smaller levels back home. And it's being in a very, very conservative area where these people did fall for a lot of the previous psyops. Granted, as Hab would say, bless their heart, they're good people.
Yeah.
But it also is something that makes everyone look wackadoo.
Right.
And that's what happened 6 to 7 years ago, where they made the entire right and everyone's center of right look absolutely stupid, and then go on to a psyop that led to domestic security bills or terrorism bills.
You know how like the whole wings the two bird thing, it's always one wings time and then it's always another wings time. Maybe this is going to be a transitional period where it's going to be, all right, well, I guess the right is right this time, or in this period of time in life. You know what I mean?
Well, it can be a pressure release for the right, and one question would be the foreign plans for us with China, and how aggressive are we going to be, and who's better in place to do that? That'll basically determine how serious they are with that, with who wins the next election, in my mind. Either way, for the average person, the same thing about how you have to buckle down is still going to be the same fact. But I just couldn't help but notice I paid attention when local media outlets and local talk show hosts really started talking about this stuff. I heard a Discord noise. We're still good?
You're good. Yeah, I didn't hear it. It was on you.
Okay. But I couldn't help but notice Tim Pool having the guy on, and we're gonna do a deep dive into the Tim fellow. And this is some Coney 2012 level bullshit. Um, I couldn't help notice him having him on. Glenn Beck had him on. Literally everyone on the right, or center right, or libertarian leaning had him on, and I'm just like, wow, I've never seen. And this was the next Monday. I've never seen. I haven't seen in a long time the average people on the right, the generals on the right, all moving in lockstep, saying the same things, praising this movie, and saying it's one of the best movies they've ever seen. Which, first off, how many times have you seen a 10 out of 10 movie, Jimmy? You've
10 out of
probably
10's
seen it a
rare.
handful on the amount of times you can count it on one hand. That
Yeah,
doesn't
well,
happen every.
it's. I mean, if you're talking about modern times, if you're asking me personally, I mean, I don't keep my eye out for every film that comes out. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
a modern movie, really, I mean, if I don't think you see that often. You don't see 10 out of 10s. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's something that. Yeah, I'm just like this is being astroturfed to the gills, and if everyone is taking the bait, um, that mean either there's going to be an extreme smear campaign that's going to bury the whole damn side. Which I mean, as someone on the more distant right side, I couldn't give two shits what happens to the conservatives at this point. Um, but it also doesn't help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
There was one review I might have skipped over, which was basically like, I can't believe how much this is being astroturfed. Um, but yeah, it's just a ridiculous amount, and I,
that's a
I
lot
just
of 10
heard,
out of 10s and 9 out of 10s. I think I saw a couple 6 out of 10s, but other than that, I don't think I've seen anything below a 6 yet.
and I heard Tim Pool praise it and saying, "Oh, Rotten Tomatoes gave it a great review," which we can check on that later. Um, and I'm just like, this is out, this is out of control. And it's to the point where it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm the only one who's gonna take the side of, um, the other side. And right as I was looking into that, you see the dude, Tim Ballard, who's the guy the movie's based off of, going on Fox and was like, "Hey, listen, if you're against this movie, you might as well be a pedophile." I'm like, "Well, maybe you're against the bullshit of going through another psyop that these idiots that you guys are rounding up once again to ignite the base for another election." As Mel Gibson, who's been promoting this film, is meeting with Trump at a UFC event just a couple days after the movie releases. Like this is a giant PR thing, especially with him going on Tim Pool right after. Um, so getting closer to okay, so I said this might happen. That it might be one of these things where they attack the entire right. There's also a reason to believe that that might not happen because they might be doubling down on this BS. Share it another screen.
All right, hold on. Before we get there, I just want to just jump over to chat real quick. Triple Crown says, I'm still missing the point as to why this movie is a farce. Is there CP? And if not, why claim there is?
It's about his story. All the things that he claimed to do, there's a lack of evidence for him doing it. And whenever he goes on all these different shows, and everyone and their mother is having them on, he has a way for gathering money. And where this money's going and how it's being set up is involved. I'll get to it as soon as I can. I want to breeze through these next couple
Be
points.
patient, Triple. That's all.
Yeah.
All right, let me.
But I've been pissed at this. When I like every day when I reached out to you a couple of days ago, I'm like, yeah, there's something fishy. And then like every day it's gotten 5 to 10 times worse. Where it's like, okay, now I hate this guy. Okay, are we sharing this?
Yep.
All right, so one of the reasons they might not go this way is CPAC has their own Center for Combating Human Trafficking that is now going to partner with his OUR, which is Underground or Operation Underground Railroad. Okay, so making a new scene now.
Yep. Let me know when she's up.
We'll go. We'll go with this one first. Sharing one.
Yep, I hear you. I see you.
Cool. So Angel Studios is the studio that is releasing and putting out the Sound of Freedom movie. I just got Sound of Music in my head for a second. So the Sound of Freedom movie. Angel Studios also wasn't always called Angel Studios, and we'll get to that in a second. Is it a Christian group? Yes, but it is also a Mormon group. And I think the other article goes into that a whole lot more. But they raised $47 million in financing in January 2021. And you'll see other articles. I'll see if I can find them. And I think I have one that alludes to it, saying, oh, we made $47 million. Well, you raised $47 million. And that was raised by GigaFund, which was one of the main investors in SpaceX. So you have Elon Musk's company being behind Angel Studios to the degree of $47 million, which is also really one of the only numbers that they promote or that they disclose. They also went through an issue where they got sued by Disney, and they had to. It was a copyright argument. One sec. Sorry, the baby puppies jumping everywhere.
You're good.
To the degree of $62.4 million. So they were already kind of on the ropes. They produced a bunch of other Christian crap too.
Oh,
Sir, what's up?
me? Oh, I don't know. You just said Christian crap, so I felt like acting like I was insulted.
Oh,
Just having a laugh, buddy. Hey,
no
do
worries.
you have something ready to go, or do you want to take like a quick 30 seconds so I can take a wee wee? I'll wait if you got something ready to go.
Yeah, I pulled something up so you can
Okay.
go take a piss, and I can wait for you when you're back.
You wait? You want to wait?
Well, I can go over this one, and it might take a couple seconds.
I'm gonna pull up on my phone so I can hear you. So
Sure.
keep going. And all right, you're on. I'll be right back.
Okay, and waiting to see if it's on the screen. Cool. And I'll make sure to drop all these links. I've more or less posted, I think, almost all the links that I'm sharing on some of the videos that I've posted out there. Angel Studios versus The Chosen. I hope I shared the right one. That'd be bad. What we're looking for is, here we go. It used to be called VidAngel. The company was owned by a well-known Mormon family: Neil Harmon, Jeff Harmon, Daniel Harmon, Jordan Harmon. So a bunch of Mormons. Neil Harmon's the current CEO, sued by Disney. We just went into that, $62 million. And also Brad Pello, which if you guys looked into Ancestry.com, he also was one of the main founders of, or maybe he was the founder, or was the CDO of Ancestry.com. And Angels replied for a $47 million VC investment fund. And I want to get more into this fellow's bullshit. Okay. So that's some of the money behind it, and now we can get into when Jimmy's back. I'm going to grab a couple links about how this guy, and there is one story, two stories in particular, where he will talk about how he saved. Is that you, Jimmy?
Yep.
Okay. So there are a couple stories in particular where he would talk about saving a kid, or his group saved a kid, where in reality he's just taking credit from, ironically, the feds, who for once in their life did a good thing. And we'll get into that.
Did you send me links?
I don't have those pulled up in tabs right now. So if you
Okay.
want to pull up either of those, we could.
Did you want one up?
I can pull it up. It's easier then.
Well,
All right.
if you want me to, I can. I just don't know. I don't know how far you want me to scroll on certain things.
It's all right. I'm pulling a couple up right now. And then we'll get into this fellow's um, financial corruption story. Is it up?
Yep. Good night, Amy.
Okay, anti-trafficking group with a long history of false claims. This whiteboard is going to be the crux of the rest of the story. This is a leak of a picture that basically breaks down how he's been funneling money.
Wait, it's a leak from Vice?
No, it's a leak from someone who worked at Operation Underground Railroad.
Operation
Um, which is his main company that he uses for funding all this money and stuff.
Okay.
Here we go. So, R means Operation Underground Railroad. Heavily marketed its role for the rescue of Leanna, a young trafficking survivor with Ballard, the man, once again, who the movie's based off of, telling a story about the rescue in congressional territory in op-eds and media appearances. In fact, she rescued herself. She did not meet the representatives until years after she's done so.
Huh?
Again, even though the Vice is reporting this, find evidence of him saying anything else, of him providing actual proof of anything otherwise. There's also someone that he used, a young boy who was kidnapped, that he claims that he's still searching for, that he made for the face of his company, and we'll get into that immediately after this. The organization led to a bizarre, plundering, attempted rescue on the Haiti Dominican Republic border. Young kids in Haiti.
Ah.
And this is where the story really begins to pick up, and it goes a lot more the way that you think it's going to.
Uh-huh.
Which is a shame that Amy left. Great time for leaving.
Well,
Based
she's a mom. She's got to be up early. Give her some slack.
She's a mom. Okay. I'll give you a guess to what I'm pulling up. But the even weirder thing, based on intelligence sourced from a Utah psychic medium. So he's been using a medium as leads for this stuff. He makes little TV shows, which we're about to go into at the same time, about all the different let's find a kid missions he goes on. And then he goes on shows in the past. He would go to Glenn Beck and promote his sister organization, the Nazir Fund, which he's no longer a part of. Now, a reason that we're about to get into, a little spoiler, is the reason he's no longer a part of these organizations that are sister organizations or child organizations of his original company is because he was paying himself quite a bit out of it, and he realized, wow, that might actually look pretty bad, and I should come up with a new plan for that. And now this article goes into this is just him talking about QAnon stuff and stuff we already talked about. So once again, just because this isn't a QAnon related thing, yes, it is a movie that is about child trafficking and not QAnon.
Right.
You don't get to decide if it's a QAnon movie or not because you did some dumbass shit that led to domestic terrorism bills being passed. Thanks, Grandma. Thanks, Grandma. You had to go see the Capitol. We can forget the other. Okay.
And that wasn't just grandmas and grandpas. There's plenty of youngsters too doing that shit.
That's true. That's true. So, do you want me to quickly talk about? I guess at the ends I can bring up what this is. One of the things it's a distraction from.
What? Yeah. I think keep the distractions towards the end. I think that could be a better wrap up, if you ask me.
Really, the most important thing is, like, he's distracting you from his financial corruptions, and really, the only point I'm getting at is the movie focuses on kids in Colombia, and it's like, well, a lot of the trafficking in the world is coming out of Eastern Europe. While there's a war there, where it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
And um, just real quick, I'll get over the distraction part because the financial funding is the stuff that should piss you off the most.
Okay.
I had to find an archive for this, but this was a story that happened in Colombia that the movie never covered, which just bothered me even more. Colombian police, are we sharing it?
Yep.
Dismantle massive child sex slavery ring run by Israelis.
This was
Yeah,
archived in 2018. Is that what that says? Or
yes. So just another thing that was happening at the same time that he alludes to in one of the interviews that he went to. I believe it was the Timcast interview. That he conveniently leaves out this part. I linked you this link. So you can put it in the D Live chat since
all
I'm
right.
not looking at
the most recent one you just gave me.
Yes, the archive
Right.
of the
Archive.
Renegade
Here-
Tribune.
here's
And
the
Whitney Webb.
Here's the archive. in
Oh,
the
Whitney
chat.
Webb didn't do the sex trafficking. Whitney Webb did the article.
Right.
I hope she didn't do the sex trafficking.
I doubt it, but well, maybe. You never know.
All right, so this fellow has done the most research on the guy, connections to the Mormon Church, but all this stuff is in the video. That we'll play in just a second. And I think most of this stuff I covered. Yes, most of this stuff I covered. I also have released a video in the past about how the Mormon Church covers up, it's covered up sex abuse and allegedly ritual abuse for the past 40 years.
Surprise, surprise! An organized religion covered shit up, right?
An organized religion that believes the Native Americans are the chosen people. That was a religion that was created recently, and has a lot of similarities to Masonry. I got his tax documents, but there was one page.
Whenever you find that page, just zoom in because this one's
The smallest.
yeah, it's a
cell,
little
yeah.
smaller. I don't know if there's a full screen on that, but there is a zoom button. Obviously, I'm sure you see it.
I'll scroll and see if I can find this at the end.
If there's a keyword, you might be able to Control F and find the word. I don't know, or name or something.
The point, I'll say what the point is of doing this, because I'm more about just like the brass information. Is in the video that we're about to show, it claims that he paid himself around 300K a year out of this, and it's within the tax documents.
Okay. If there's any buffering or anything with the video, I can try and play it on my end, but since you already have it at hand, just try and give it a go whenever you have it.
Yes. This is the last part. Okay, that's kind of a spoiler.
What's the spoiler? What was on the screen?
Yes.
I didn't even see it. I'm sure they did though, because they're schizos like you.
Well, the whole thing is, I mean, as far as the spoiler goes, it's a small spoiler.
All right.
So if you remember the Coney 2012,
Yep.
We can go to the Know Your Meme page about it, but it was about a Ugandan, I believe it was a Ugandan warlord who had a child army pretty much in his country.
Yeah.
And some filmmaker was like, this is the worst thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
And then within a matter of weeks, it felt like the whole world knew that this man thought it was the worst thing ever. And all throughout YouTube, it was Coney 2012 and t-shirts of Coney 2012. And your friend in school was talking about Coney 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Someone at work wrote Coney 2012. And it was all like, we have to stop this Coney guy. And I posted a picture about it on the internet. So guess what? I just saved a bunch of kids. Or I donated to it or something like that. And this man made $16-some million. And then he went loopy, and I think he was like caught masturbating in the middle of Santa Monica or somewhere in California or something like that. this is about 10 times worse when it comes to the funding and the things that are going on. So, this is a guy that runs an orphanage, another Mormon. I don't want to take up a whole hour, but if it's okay to play a couple minutes of this at a time, I can click through it.
Yeah.
Okay. How are we with audio?
And Ballard's claim, repeated often over
We
the
are
years,
good with audio.
we are closer than ever.
Perfect.
In addition, also later in this report, prayer, psychics, and torture in the search for Gardy. A suspect in Gardy Marty's 2009 disappearance was tortured by Haitian police in a failed attempt to find Gardy's whereabouts. A psychic who claimed to know where Gardy was being held as a laborer is also connected to a Tim Ballard OUR nonprofit that failed to register with the IRS. But first, Ballard's secret plan. He unveiled it at a clandestine meeting in August 2019. It was a plan so secret that he asked the 10 or so people attending to sign confidentiality agreements. But now, 16 months later, at least one attendee turned a diagram of the plan over to Davis County investigators. They're conducting a criminal investigation on Underground Road. It's CEO Tim Ballard and Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes. I reconstructed the chart from a diagram Ballard drew on a whiteboard during the meeting. The drawing shows multiple Ballard-controlled for-profit and non-profit entities. Several paths for money to flow to Tim Ballard's main for-profit company. How OUR would bring more converts into the Mormon faith. Deeper involvement by the LDS Church's presiding apostle M. Russell Ballard than I had previously reported in Op-Ed 6.
It can take just a quick Google search of M. Russell Ballard to realize he's pretty high up there and well-connected, older guy in the Mormon Church.
And
Okay.
OUR's takeover of an orphanage in Haiti in an apparent attempt to monetize adoptions. Ballard wanted to make millions. His nonprofit, Operation Underground Railroad, has millions of dollars in the bank. But he cannot simply write checks to himself at the risk of losing tax-exempt status. He'd already taken his annual salary above $300,000 in 2018 before backing off that approach. One solution, surround that nonprofit with other nonprofits and for-profits in a complex labyrinth of entities where money would eventually flow into his personal bank account. A bonus, the same publicity sizzle, that is what he called sizzle on his chart, that generates donations and profits could bring masses of people into the Mormon Church. It was his capitalism begets church converts plan. At the top of the diagram, Slave Stealers LLC with 3 partners, Brian Norton, Tim Ballard, and LDS Apostle Russell Ballard as a silent partner. An outside nonprofit run by former OUR operative Paul Hutchinson was envisioned to donate to multiple entities.
Those things might look familiar. Which one to you is the most concerning, Jimmy? Familiar, perhaps.
Haiti.
Yes, the orphanage in Haiti.
Yeah.
Ballard's use of the word sizzle was taken to mean that the nonprofits would attract donors by way of dynamic humanitarian missions, such as rescuing child sex slaves. Money would end up in Ballard's own company that would make more money with a new movie, his speaking engagements, upcoming books, and some of that would go back to Slave Stealers LLC.
And he's done this, as we'll see, with other not necessarily movies, but shorter films.
In this episode, I'll focus on 3 entities shown on the chart: Slave Stealers, the Haiti Orphanage, and Children Need Families Foundation. OUR
important
appears
ones.
to have taken at least partial control of a Haitian orphanage that has been mismanaged by Gesno Marty. More about that in a few minutes. The second whiteboard entity I'll put under the microscope is one Tim Ballard and his wife Catherine formed. They installed Janet Russin from Utah County as its director, even though they called it a nonprofit It has not been registered with the IRS.
Side note, your
I'll
Kathy
begin
could
with
get
the-
it.
So, quote unquote, things being advertised as a nonprofit that aren't constructed in such a way is a common theme. Also, when you go to his site in OUR, or just links that were being shelled on forums and Reddit, and other links in other places, as this movie was coming out, you'll notice that there's a lot of paid forward links on a lot of ways people can donate, implying that this might as well just be a pump and dump scheme.
Look at the for-profit entity at the top of Ballard's whiteboard sketch.
The one that we're gonna cover next, the children need of families. A lot of it is just about the nepotism around him and his family.
Slave
We'll get to
Stealers
the juicy stuff
LLC.
fast, so we don't
He
waste too much
claimed the
of your time.
Mormon Church's top
Okay.
apostle, Russell Ballard, is a silent partner. Video Op-Ed 6 dealt with the covenant controversy and Russell Ballard's support of Tim Ballard's Slave Stealer book. Here, Russell Ballard is pictured with Glenn Beck and Tim Ballard. Tim Ballard at the whiteboard meeting implied that Russell Ballard also has a financial interest in the book's spin-off, a proposed television series, also called Slave Stealers. Slave Stealers has a Farmington, Utah office address. It's the business address for Brad Brower, Russell Ballard's son-in-law. Brower and Russell Ballard declined interviews. Melissa Ballard, Russell Ballard's daughter-in-law, is a state representative. She's seen here on the right with her husband Craig
the
and
whole
Jessica
family is
Mass,
just
OUR's
fucking-
after.
And everything, huh?
Well, Mormons stick together. If you don't know about them,
Yeah.
they're pretty close people.
Aftercare director at a fundraiser event. She plugged OUR on her website by passing along Ballard's unproven and false fundraising pitches. She wrote,
And who did they market to as well? Not just Christians, but or not just Christians and conservatives, but of that base, you have a lot of evangelicals. And you're not doing anything wrong because this is all about protecting the children. It's about children.
Right.
You're not going to be against children, and we do this for the Lord.
amazing night for Operation Underground Railroad.
And you're
In just
the
5
bad
years, they went
guy.
from saving 260
You're the bad guy if you call it out, and I have no problem being America's heel.
kids
So
in a year.
hold on a minute.
to more than
So do you
1,200
think
kids.
the Mormon religion, is that just another Freemasonry type, like, oh yeah, we're all about God here, but then when you really get into it, it's all about something else type of a deal? Is that what I'm kind of gathering here with them? Or am I just, there is nothing to allude to that. I guess I'm just kind of just going on my own on that. But you did say that they do resemble the Freemasons at one point, so I guess that's what kind of sparked that idea.
When it comes to like attire, dress, and belief and inclusivity and stuff like that, it's more what I meant.
Okay.
kids this year from slavery.
There's another rabbit hole to be taken there, but this
Yeah.
one's already will take a while.
Yeah.
If I have a time, no, but I'm
The most stunning statistic tonight, 2 million African slaves were taken over 400 years. Today, there are more than 40 million slaves. Slave Stealers, an existing book and a planned TV series.
go ahead
No, I'm just typing in chat.
for sure.
According to a press proposed series designed to cast a light on slavery, past and present, is currently in development. Says Emmy-winning Nick Nanton is producing alongside Brian Norton and Ballard through their Stowaway Production and Eighth Wonder Entertainment. And it says Ballard's Operation Underground Railroad, the nonprofit set up to combat human trafficking, is also involved. There are 2 slave stealers related entities not on Ballard's chart. One is 11th Street Films, LLC, and Stowaway Productions, LLC. Both are registered by Tim Ballard and associated with Nick Nanton, who directed the movie Operation Tucson. What is not clear is the financing coming from, and when will production begin, if ever. Slave Stealers is also connected to Ballard's very recently released Sound of Freedom movie.
I had a lot of trouble putting these movies out on anywhere that's big enough that would actually move the needle.
The release of that movie had already been delayed by more than 2 years. It looks like no theater chain or streaming service like Netflix wanted it. Now its March 2021 release is by a small obscure streaming outlet and advertised for free and can be accessed via YouTube.
Better this time.
Slave Stealer's partner Brian Norton is also involved with 2 OUR-related St. George area firearms training centers, Fort Pierce Ranch and Salvo LLC. Norton is also rumored to be paying Ballard $900,000 a year for his piece of the whiteboard pie.
What?
Next up on Ballard's whiteboard chart, the purported nonprofit entity Children Need Families, founded by Tim Ballard's wife, Catherine, and headed by Janet Russin. CNF's business address is Janet Russin's home in Provo. Russin is the foundation's executive director. Board members are Tim Ballard, Catherine Ballard, and Tevye Ware, Catherine's sister. Ware is also OUR CFO and is paid about $100,000 a year. Although CNF claims to be a nonprofit, it is not registered with the IRS or Utah as required of nonprofits. It apparently provides donor tax deductions through OUR. In any event, there are no annual IRS reports. That severely limits what donors and taxpayers know about the entity that Tim Ballard put on his whiteboard chart along with the word sizzle. Brent Andrewson, OUR's nonprofit attorney, declined explaining if an entity can claim to be a nonprofit and solicit donations without being registered with the IRS. CNN's first OUR-related charity involved her now defunct Little Fish Foundation once raised money for Gesno Marty's orphanage in Haiti.
About to get corrupt and schizo all at about the same time.
Her charity is not registered with the IRS, but she may have paid taxes, and donors might not have claimed tax deductions, so it may have been legal. It appears she did continue operating the charity after its Utah's corporate registration expired 8 years ago. Russin has a lot of OUR-related Facebook friends. In March this year, Vice World News reported that Janet, the article did not use her last name, is a psychic who claimed to have divined where Gardy Marty was being held as a child labor slave. It was yet another failed attempt to find Gardy among numerous failed attempts.
And he's one of the faces of this Haitian orphanage.
Okay.
The Blunder Gardy rescue mission took place at a remote location near the Dominican Republic border. Here are a couple of photos from the failed 2014 rescue mission. Vice's
Real quick,
story about this site.
Yeah.
Triple Crown's asking, so they dislike whites the most. Who are not like them? I'm trying to follow. So they dislike whites the most who are not like them. I'm trying to follow.
I think what's going on in the chat is
Oh,
she's trying to
never mind. Yeah, she's
how they
talking.
work. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of like, well, selling your soul is well, you're going against your own people and your own tribe. You know, there's 2 different groups in their eyes. There's them and there's everyone else.
Aye.
And of everyone else, who is the biggest threat to them? Europeans.
Always Europeans.
So if you turn on them and you start working with them, then there you go.
It begins like this. The rescue mission near the border.
Also, this kid, this young guy, like, it is important that he's missing, but because he's missing, he gets to be utilized as a cash cow.
Border of Haiti and the Dominican Republic was not going well. Operation Underground Railroad had arrived at a remote village seeking a missing child. Acting on what Tim Ballard had promised was a solid tip from a source. OUR's so-called jump team had entered the village, pretending to be part of a medical team, and quietly surveyed the scene. But the missing child was nowhere to be found. And then, to the dismay of several people on the ground, Ballard produced his source, a psychic medium from Utah, Janet.
So I'm curious. Okay, do they get into this psychic Janet anymore?
Not not a whole lot, but it
Do you,
does go towards just discrediting him on how he's actually trying to find these kids. But as you noticed at the somewhere, you said something about slave stealers, an existing book planned to be a TV series.
yeah.
That's a reoccurring thing, as we saw with Musk's Gigafund funding Sound of Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
He gets to fund these movies well enough funded that he doesn't need any more money to coming in from other people. Then goes on a bunch of Christian talk shows and radio shows, and now streamers, and now the right wing audience to gather even more money, and brings that to fund these things that he can, to fund his projects that he can funnel through other things to get a payout for himself. It gets
The person that claimed
the manipulation of how he uses this topic is what they get into for the next few minutes. And then the actual kidnapping of this kid. Is it all right to get into that today?
Yeah.
Or do you want
I
me to
the
zoom
way
through?
the way I'm seeing it, just by looking at the time here, it's 3:20 a.m. So I mean another 40 minutes. I mean I'm cool with.
Okay, I'll see if I can skip a few so you guys can listen to some more music. But he's relying
No,
on tips from his
this is
close
probably going to
source.
be this after this. I'm probably going to be wrapping up, but just keep going.
Okay.
Whatever.
Well, I'll click through this, and if chat says like, no, we want to listen to the silent generation man speak, we can do that too. Ballard, both sources, says that Guaisno, who's the man who ran the orphanage in Haiti, tell him that his son was coming home, summoned him to the village. He shows up with a woman, very sheltered-looking soccer momish woman from Utah. After being defensive, he won't let anyone talk to her. After a couple days, he figured out that the source is a fucking psychic. So they plan a media event. This goes exactly into what I was just saying. So if you're given money to Operation Underground Railroad, one of the people involved was the psychic.
our rescue efforts alongside our law enforcement partners. Janet Russin declined comment. Her husband told me she had signed a non-agreement with OUR.
That's comforting.
ESP failed. A psychic did not lead to Gardy's rescue. Prayer had not worked either, and neither did a far more extreme measure, torture. Here's what led up to such a desperate measure. The kidnapping in front of a Mormon chapel made worldwide news via an Associated Press story. Tim Ballard has told the Gardy kidnapping story perhaps hundreds of times. I reported on it in a previous video op-ed, so I won't go into detail here. Shortly after Gardy's disappearance, his father got a phone call. The call came from a phone number that Gesno recognized as belonging to a former employee from several years back. Just before the earthquake, a Haitian news outlet reported on the abduction. It wrote, Gardy Marty III, an American citizen by birth, was kidnapped December 6, 2009 by two men riding on a motorcycle in the front yard of a church. He lived in the Caribbean nation with his father, one of his Haitian-born parents. Since the little Gardy is an American citizen, FBI agents are in Haiti to help Haiti police with the investigation. It showed the only photo I've ever seen of FBI and UN officers investigating. Ballard's investigation began 4 years after the kidnapping, and he embellishes his story. He said, no one in Haiti talks. We went back to the church and interviewed every single person that was there that Sunday that Gardy was taken, and no one would talk. Gesno said that, like a year later, even his closest congregation members finally came to him and said, we did see Gardy taken by a motorcycle driver. Ballard and Gesno are wrong. When the FBI investigated, some church members did provide information. Utah adoption agent Cheryl Moyes gave me new information about the Gardaí kidnapping. Moyes is co-founder of the Haitian Roots nonprofit and manager of Wasatch International Adoptions. She's part of a Haiti to Mormon families adoption pipeline and one of the nation's leading experts on Haitian adoptions. Gesno Marty's Foyer des Sion orphanage was and is a source for her clients long before Tim Ballard was involved. Right after the earthquake, she helped bring Gesno Marty's family to live in the United States, first in Ogden, Utah, then Idaho, then Florida, and finally St. George. Moyes provides a couple of new details about the kidnapping, details that OUR leaves out of the Gardaí story. She says, Gesno told her that another son, Gus, 2 years older than Gardaí, was with Gardaí on the sidewalk at the time of the kidnapping. Gus either escaped being put on the motorcycle, or the kidnapper could not fit both boys on the motorcycle. He would have been an important eyewitness. Gesno told her that he did not quickly recognize the kidnapper's phone number as that of his former employee, Carlos Bristol, but concluded that sometime later. That phone number was the key evidence linking Carlos Bristol to the kidnapping and led to his arrest.
This is the second time that we've heard a story of him or of evidence being omitted from Operation Underground Railroad to make them seem like they're doing more for specific children, with lack of evidence of them proving their claims of what they're actually doing.
Tim Ballard identifies 3 people who orchestrated Gardaí's kidnapping and subsequent sale into sex or labor slavery. Carlos Bristol was arrested shortly after Gardaí's disappearance in 2010. He was accused of abducting Gardaí in front of the church and escaping on a motorcycle. He was a member of Marty's LDS ward and former employee at a Marty orphanage. V. Rose Pressois was arrested 4 years later, in 2014, after police and OUR raided her orphanage searching for Gardaí. She was also a member of the Marty Mormon ward. Wilson Bristol, Carlos's brother, was arrested 8 years after the kidnapping in 2018 after Ballard changed and concluded that Wilson snatched little Gardaí. OUR wanted Haiti police to force them to reveal what happened. Haitian police, as part of an OUR sting operation to find Gardaí, arrested Pressois and her daughter after they took $20,000 in the sale of 2 children. After the arrest, they interrogated Pressois. They demanded to know what she had done with Gardaí. Where is he? They even offered to free her daughter, who was arrested with V. Rose, if she said what she knew about Gardaí. OUR first resorted to prayer in real time as interrogators asked V. Rose Pressois about Gardaí's whereabouts right after her arrest. Pressois is seen being interrogated as a translator in another room tells OUR operatives what she is saying.
I think we should pray right now.
Let's say prayer really quick. He's starting this.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to please answer all the millions of prayers that have gone up to find this little boy. If he's alive, and if Rose knows where he's at, please soften her heart. So will reveal this information to us. We might follow through and find Gardaí, and then we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
This fucking guy.
Haiti's legal system is corrupt.
Whatever. You brought up the other rabbit hole like 20 minutes ago or so about going down Mormon stuff. I'm kind of curious now and trying to deep dive into that at some point. Curious what their end goal is.
I mean, getting people to not leave church, keep breeding, keeping money within their systems and networks. It's extremely inclusive and very rough for people who get out, or you usually don't get out because it's all you know. So basically, yeah, we know that the Haiti's corrupt or legal system some up. This is him.
The moment for you.
Yeah.
More praying, blah blah blah.
Attending a Haitian college. He was arrested right after the December 2009 kidnapping. He's the one who took Gardy first. They put him in jail. He never.
All right, so this is him talking about the alleged torture. So him being, this is the guy who ran the orphanage that was part of the OUR network, talking about the alleged torture of the man who stole Gardy. Gardy's being the kid that's the face of all this.
Yeah.
Confessed. Gesno said police tried putting inmates in the cell with Carlos to get a confession. That did not work. Mabry then commented, I think that waterboarding and torture should be allowed in certain situations, and that's one of them. Gesno replied, they tried that. They put a plastic bag over his head. Gesno said water did not extract a confession as to Gardy's fate. It did induce Carlos to name an accomplice, who Gesno said was arrested and still in jail at the time of the 2017 interview. I've not learned the name of the accomplice. I'll now play the audio recording of that part of the interview.
He never confesses. I think waterboarding and torture should be allowed in certain situations. Maybe that's one of them. Because
yes, well, at first, one day, the first day when they got him, they tried to, they even tried that.
they did.
Yeah.
What did they
But
tell me
but-
about it?
Yeah, they did that. The guy who you took him first, they put plastic bag in his head, let him,
They put a
but-
plastic bag on his
in
head?
yes, showing that they were serious about it.
Hey, Woody, anything goes, right? Like they plastic bag him on the head. They're interrogating him, scaring him.
Then when it was
Ballard's view of the case is that the employee believed Gesno had come into some money and made a plan to kidnap Gardy and collect ransom money. But he can't do it himself, so he turns to others who have experience in this loathsome business. The traffickers, Ballard believes, know they can make more money off him by either selling him or using him as a labor or sex slave, and had no intention of returning him for ransom. The now former employee is in jail, Ballard said, refusing to cooperate, while it is believed the traffickers are exploiting poor little Gardy for their own enjoyment. What Ballard is saying is that Carlos Bristol is still in jail 7 years after his arrest. Just a month after Bristol was arrested, the Deseret News reported the FBI was called in and spent a week in Haiti following leads and interviewing the former employee who was considered a prime suspect. They turned the man over to Haitian authorities and left, while the man was imprisoned during the ongoing investigation. But the earthquake damaged prisons, and many prisoners either escaped or were released from unstable buildings.
Huh.
The suspect in the Marty case is back free on the.
Sorry, you say something?
I just said, huh. It's the earthquake damaged prisons, and many prisoners either escaped or released because of unstable building. Interesting. That's all. It's interesting.
Yeah, and they'll show. There's a part that's coming up that I can save 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It shows how it's unfortunate that there's a lot of details. It's like he does a really good job about here's what he said, and then here's what he left out, and here's what he's claiming he's doing versus here's evidence to the contrary. And TC says, where did you find all this stuff? I never heard about this in any of Tiger's links. Here's the thing. This isn't like, oh, here's the billionaire who's on top of it. Throw papers up. We got him. Like, no, that's not how any of these conspiracies work. It's not how organized crime works. And I'm sick and fucking tired of us being gaslighted as if it is. Oh, we found the person on top. He said this, he said that. Throw papers up, over. Like, no, there's entire operations, and you have to look at how money's being funded and what they're telling people. And I find this one to be extremely important because this one has reached Coney 20. Maybe not yet Coney 2012 levels of propaganda, but it's been a hell of a few weeks to the point where people are still talking about this film, astroturfing its ratings, talking about how good it is, about this guy, which if you watch the film, it's not just about eliciting emotion. It's about putting the guy over, and having these not events, but having these interviews isn't necessarily about this. And we're going to talk about the kids because we all love kids. Yeah. Okay. Well, we get it. We get it. But what's it about? It's about putting the guy over and talking about, well, if you want to help us, because if you don't help us, are you like, what is it? It's Jesus or the devil? It's a light switch brain with these people. You have to you have to contribute to this, and people need to know what they're contributing it to. And I have a bigger theory about where I think this is going for the next few years. And I'll make sure that I'm not leaving without saying that.
The island.
Well, this is
The
okay. So
priority
hold on a
given the
minute. This video is out in 2021, correct?
Yeah, it might have been earlier.
That's what I gathered. This video was out during the pre-production of this during this movie when it's being made. So
Right.
an
earlier
it seems to be quite a build-up, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And
A
no
slow
one really
build. I mean, nobody knew about it until the movie actually came out. You know what I mean? Type of video.
no one paid a lot of attention to
Yeah.
this, but people paid attention to Angel a month or so before. And I want people to read this, so I'm going to send the Substack article so you can put that in the chat.
Well, is it gonna go against the terms of service?
I don't think sharing a Substack article. I don't know at this point
I'm
what
kidding.
they're doing, dude. I know how you feel.
Yeah, here's
There's
the link. You gave me 2 links, right?
Well, do the first one, or sorry, do both. Well, the second one is like, you can see the most recent ones that she's put out. That's her homepage.
All right. So go with 1 or 2. First, second.
The most recent one, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, so I'll go with the Bria Dow, right? Bria Dow?
Yes,
Okay.
and the articles from the 6th and the 2nd of June 6th and June 2nd. So that's interesting that this person was covering the studios and corruption going on there, and meshed with the investors a month before this video came out, or sorry, the movie came out, and has not released anything about the movie. So there was a little bit of noise about that with however many subscribers this person has. I've never heard of her before. I don't think that many. And her Twitter, I don't think has 6 figures. I mean, neither does mine, but
You don't have a Twitter.
yeah, but I'm still right when I say that. That's what's important.
Yeah.
So that, and what was the other thing I showed? And this person is really a lot of the info that's been going on about this guy and this little operation. I'm trying to find how I'm sharing my screen right now. Here we go.
I mean, right now we see the video. All right. It's full
Cool.
screen.
By the police dropped astronomically given the quake's aftermath. Fast forward 8 years after Carlos Bristol was arrested to what OUR called Operation Wilson, which was OUR's code name for the arrest of Wilson Bristol, Carlos's brother. 2 years after the arrest, Ballard decided to show the
What's that?
I didn't say anything.
Okay.
video, writing
I
that
have
with Haitian law enforcement, we were able to track down Wilson and arrest him in 2018. This video shows never before seen footage of this operation. OUR went from being certain Carlos snatched Gardy to being certain it was Wilson. Ballard wrote, Bristol was a notorious gang leader and found to be one of Gardy's main traffickers. Wilson is the brother of Carlos, who was the one that physically kidnapped Gardy on the back of the motorcycle.
We're going after a guy named Wilson Bristol. They call him Little Jamaican. That was the brother of Carlos Bristol. Carlos was working for Gesno. Wilson Bristol is a notorious gang leader now. And this guy is the one that trafficked Gardy many years ago. So this is the first time we've had a lead this hot on Gardy in years. So this guy can give us all the information I'm going to believe to where he is. Go.
Yes? I just get him up.
Nice handcuffs.
Make sure you get that on camera. Come with us.
Despite
That wasn't super crucial to the story. I just think it's fun to watch a Haitian guy get thrown in the ground.
OUR's talk about the kidnapping suspects, most questions remain unanswered.
This is more important.
How did Gesno even know that Carlos Bristol was tortured, yet did not reveal Gardy's whereabouts? Who else knew? Were any OUR operatives at the prison when Bristol was tortured? They were present, participated, and prayed when Pressois was first interrogated. Was either Pressois, the unnamed accomplice, or Wilson Bristol also tortured? What evidence was used to convict and imprison the kidnapped suspects? Are any still imprisoned? If not, how, when, and why were they released? Find Gardy is the foundation upon which OUR was born 7 years ago with what it called Operation Voodoo. The search continues to be Ballard's top fundraising pitch.
If you don't hate the guy yet, this is where you start to hate.
OUR movies, The Abolitionists, and Operation Toussaint highlight Operation Voodoo. Ballard tells the story countless times over the years that OUR is close to finding Gardy, keeping hope alive, and donations flowing. The truth is not closer than ever, but the opposite, farther than ever. Without sharing any proof as usual, Ballard posts on Instagram, "We haven't found him yet. We're getting closer than ever. We're putting more resources into this investigation than ever.
And we'll get the kid.
We're going to find him."
2 more weeks of 2 more movie tickets. Buy a hat.
The latest Find Gardy campaign centers on the hat.
Gardy's been moved around quite a bit, but everywhere we go looking for him, we end up rescuing more children, taking us into places we never would have gone otherwise. We haven't found him yet, but we are closer than ever. We are putting more resources into this investigation than ever, and we're gonna find him, and we're gonna find him really soon.
Here's the truth about the "we're close" lies. When the search began with Operation Voodoo in 2014, Gardy had been missing 4 years, and the chances of finding him, even then, were very low. Chances continue to get worse over time, despite the deployment of prayer, a psychic, and torture, and despite costing perhaps hundreds of thousands of dollars. The story, though, has helped raise millions of dollars. Okay, now to the last of the 3 Ballard whiteboard entities covered in this episode, the orphanage in Haiti. Gesno Marty and his orphanages is a rags to riches story. From Taxi Driver in 1999, a small house orphanage with a tin roof, no electricity, no running water, no indoor toilet, to 3 orphanage houses and a downtown office by time Ballard met him in 2013, handling more than 700 adoptions. Money poured in from multiple charities, a cut of adoption fees, plus monthly support fees for kids awaiting processing. Adoption fees could total more than $17 million. Maintenance fees per child for those kids awaiting adoption, it's a 2 to 3 year process, upwards of $250 a month.
For those who didn't catch that, adoption fees could total more than $17 million. Maintenance fees per child towards up $250 a month.
It's a lot of
In
kids, right?
2003, a Utah charity constructed the
Yep,
Martys
700.
an
More than.
$850,000 orphanage built on donated land. It was to replace the Gardays' tiny tin-roofed cottage housing 17 orphans. It had the attention of Haitian authorities. It was a model for future Haitian orphanages. The $850,000 included an endowment fund to run the facility. It was set up to facilitate Utah adoptions via LDS Social Services among private agencies. The Martys never assumed management of the Showpiece orphanage built just for them. A Marty friend told me that Gesno did not want to operate it the way the group who built it wanted it run. They parted ways. Instead, Gesno and his wife Marjorie expanded to 3 orphanage sites.
D-Ball's
D-Ball
saying-
in the chat.
Yeah, bringing up the Mitt
Again,
Romney
I'm going to assume Mitt Romney has something to do with this. Well, in the past, it doesn't really matter at this point because, as we covered in the earlier tweet, CPAC, so the chair of CPAC as well said that CPAC Center for Combating Human Trafficking is proud to join the fight against predatory cartels, criminals that have transformed human trafficking into the billion-dollar empire. # Sound of Freedom movie premiering the 4th, and he links the trailer to it. So CPAC's organization is already assuming that Romney is a part of that. I don't know. Conservative, I can only assume so.
Yeah, come on. I mean,
right.
How could you not assume that? I mean, people in our shoes.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to note that, like, I get it that people care about this. It's a topic that everyone should care about. Like, universal thing. Trafficking of people, bad.
Right.
Trafficking of children, face the wall. Do not pass go, face the wall, do not return home.
Right.
Go straight to hell. One-way ticket.
Mm-hmm.
But people also, just the response to this is if, like, the point I'm getting is I don't think people have any damn idea what they're up against with this. This isn't like, we're going to go in there, we're going to grab the kids, we're going to save them. Like, do you know who's doing this? Like, you think it's that, like, when was the last time you dismembered a body? Like, when was the last time you ripped someone's eye out and shoved it down their throat?
Yesterday.
When was the last time you digged a ditch for someone and threw them in it? Or you had someone dig their own ditch? See? Okay, well, maybe check Jimmy's house for kids instead of going around this. There's your easy answer. But, like,
sorry.
Small.
Well, that's not hyperbole. I think there's just this romanticized thing of we're the good guys.
There is no good guy.
Exactly.
That's the thing. There's no good guy. They're all shit.
Yes. We're shipping in Aztecs. It's not getting better, and it's going at an extremely high, like what? It's a 4-figure percentage increase. Compared to what it used to be. That's not turning around. Like, what you got to do is make sure your kids on your street are being safe.
Rented houses, plus a downtown Port-au-Prince office.
Not to be like black-pilled and negative about it, but I think it's important to throw out a pragmatic take that, like, you're not saving these, like, you're not stopping much of what's going on, and that just sucks for a lot of people to hear. And it's like, if you vote a certain way, like, changing the border can change certain things, but you don't have control of their home turf.
Yeah.
And that's what the real world is. It's not just here's a bunch of billionaires doing this and this. It is global mafias throughout the world that these people do consort with. That these powers that be players consort with them because they're the ones doing everything. And intel agencies, all the main intel agencies, by the way, have a hard time gaining control and trying to make sure money goes to the quote-unquote families that they choose to be the lesser evil in the eyes of an evil intelligence group.
Yeah, it's always there's more than one group, obviously, but they're fighting for the fucking power, pretty much.
Exactly, and just because, like a common thing people say is, oh, the cartel is the fall guy for this group or that group, whether it be an Israeli mob or a triad. And in some areas, or a Russian mob, they very well may have it under control. But mark the words, right? Like, it is there is so much money being controlled, especially on the narcotics trade, let alone the human trafficking trade, that there's no guarantee that just because someone has some cowboy fed behind them or some dark arts person behind them or a billionaire family that's connected behind them or another mafia behind them, that that's even the case. So I'm not saying throw your hands up, but like, you know, may put that money towards stocking up on some food or something like that instead.
Worry about your
There's no
fucking
Marty's-
self. That's pretty much
Yeah.
what it really comes down to, if you ask me. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm happy to see my mother be one of those crazy prepper peoples these days. I'm like, cool, yeah, canned foods, can your own foods, do your thing, absolutely, do that, because I need to have somewhere to eat.
Right. I need to make sure dinner's still going to be on the table. Ma, come on. So Tiger says you can sell a packet of drugs runtime. You can sell a prostitute 100 times a day. That's 365 times a year. 100 times a day is a lot. I'm not saying that's never happened before. But yeah, you can do it 5 times a day, 10 times a day, 20 times a day. And that does add up, of course. But here's the other thing that people don't take account is that bag that gets sold before it's even a bag, the price goes up step by step from the origin of its creation, from its ingredients, and it is a cartel because it's called a cartel. Well, not just it's a cartel because it's a cartel, fucking duh, but it's a cartel because it controls every aspect of that creation of it, so it can justify the price of it or control the pricing of it. So that whole entire, oh, here's the cheap ass thing that's made in the jungle, and by the time that it gets to, you know, the nation, it's gone from $1 or a few cents to 17 grand or 28 grand or whatever it is. Which, you know, you're not selling a person. Like, I haven't seen a 10K prostitute. That better be the most pristine, genetically enhanced CRISPR hooker I've ever seen before.
I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think 10K for a prostitute's too far-fetched. I believe it. They're out there.
Oh yeah, I mean, the Instagram
A 10K
horror
prostitute
level-
has a 10K prostitute's got to be somebody in their prime for sure.
That's the one. That is the one.
Experienced.
Yeah.
A little experienced, not too experienced, but a little experienced. You know what I'm saying?
Right. The right street dealers don't actually make that much money, Tiger says in real time. That's true. But the money all stays within the whatever the family is, whatever you want to call the family, the cartel, a mafia, whatever it is. That's kind of my point. And that's not to say that the human trafficking racket has trumped the narcotics ring. It has. So you are absolutely right on it. But I do want to emphasize that as well. Prostitutes make $0, however.
I mean, it's not $0, but I'm sure they make a very small percentage.
They get benefits, but they're still slaves.
It's just like dude.
We're on the same page. They're slaves. There's slave economy in the deal. I'm not justifying what's going on. I got to breathe.
Brother Harry.
I'm grabbing my last beer. I'll be back in 5 seconds.
Later, the brothers
Let's
split, with Gesno running 2 sites and Harry taking over the third.
Okay, if I don't have to say it, I don't think I have to say it, but like, yo, fuck these guys doing this. You know, fuck pimps and whatnot.
Keep playing.
Then, in about 2004, Gesno acquired donated property and several $100,000 to build an even grander orphanage. An outside anonymous charity donated the money, and unlike the previous building, the money went straight to Gesno. This footnote, Harry's orphanage was supported by Idaho's Haitian Roots Foundation. Harry, like Gesno, stayed in Haiti and sent his wife and children to live in the United States. Harry's orphanage was shut down late last year by its American charity. In 2005, construction began on Marty's grand orphanage outside Port-au-Prince. It was even more palatial than the previous showpiece. An anonymous donor made hundreds of thousands of dollars in payments directly to Gesno Marty, bypassing his Foyer de Sion, Idaho-based charity. Gesno provided photos and receipts to show progress. It was designed as a self-sustaining paradigm. Solar panels to provide electricity during the day.
Okay, you're gonna just read the whole thing. So internet, the well's all fucked up. In-house pharmacy fell apart due to the tragedy. Tragedy, of course, being the what's it called? What happened? The destruction. Oh yeah, earthquake. So Guardy is kidnapped. The kid is kidnapped
Oh,
and
right.
just
Yeah.
doesn't remain. And then the next month, like a series of unfortunate events, earthquake devastates Haiti, office leveled,
No kids were
orphanage.
hurt, though.
Right. I mean, he's already
Damaged,
kidnapped.
but
So
no
I guess-
kids hurt.
That's a big
The near
plus, right?
Yeah, new facility, Preston and Green.
completed new facility with sleeping in the indescribably filthy backyard of
Oh
the
my
Foyer
God,
des
look at that.
Sion Orphanage in Pétionville.
Sorry.
Pascal Marty, the orphanage's manager, says, "We have almost nothing left. When the earthquake happened, I had $100 in my pocket to buy food." Another independent post earthquake story reported on the orphanage itself. Here are some excerpts. At the Foyer des Sion Orphanage, I encounter squalor. 28 girls and parents to pay.
All right, 28 girls and boys down to the last bags of beans and rice. Look like a prison. Excrement lined the floors. Didn't see a single toy. Manager as a van arrived at the orphanage in the morning from a Mormon church in Salt Lake City. Whisked 10 of them away to live new lives in the U.S.
Oh,
We'll get
goody.
into that. We'll get into that in a second. But something about the Foyer de Sion didn't smell quite right. There is no way, even before the quake, it was ever a comfortable place pictured on the website, which pursued by a would-be adoptive parents. Adoption can be a lucrative business, and the Foyer de Sion requires would-be parents to pay fees of almost 20 grand to rescue a child. It isn't clear where the money goes.
Wow.
In the months and years to come, someone must take a long, hard look at the Haiti orphan.
Fees of
Wait.
almost
So, okay.
$50,000.
Sorry. I don't care if this goes a little bit longer just by asking this question, but so they paid 20 G's and they rescue a child, therefore they get to take care of that child? Is that what I'm gathering what that is?
I mean, you're supposed to have a more in-depth process of obviously going there and seeing the child.
So, okay, so they pay the 20 G's and the child is in like this kind of whatever area where they're living and whatnot. It's not actually they're taking in a child.
I'll say this: we're about to get into it in about
Okay.
15 or so, but that is the exact right question to ask.
Okay.
And ultimately, what it comes down to is this ultimately what adoption really is?
Dollars to rescue a child. It isn't entirely clear where this money goes. In the months and years to come, someone must take a long, hard look at Haiti's orphanage industry. A year later, The Independent followed up its feature story about the Foyer des Sion orphan. Found. The 9-year-old orphan who became the symbol of Haiti's tragedy, whose only possession was a tartan dress. Now she has a school uniform and hope for the future. Her home is still a filthy orphanage on the outskirts of Port-au-Prince, where you won't find a single toy and where the children sleep up to 8 to a room on rusty bunk beds. Even before the quake, it could take 2 to 3 years to finalize an adoption from Haiti. Well-meaning couples wishing to adopt from Haiti would have traditionally paid around $20,000 in fees, much of which ended up in the hands of the homes and their lawyers. And they would often also make additional donations during the adoption process. Multiple charities supported Marty's Foyer des Sion orphanage. 2 were co-founded by Gesno Marty. Foyer des Sion LLC in 2002 in Rupert, Idaho, had the same name as the orphanage, and Sion Funds for Haiti in 2008, based in Canyon, California, plus others not directly tied to the Martys. Early Foyer des Sion officers were suspected of profiting off adoptions. New officers and directors replaced the original. There was a rocky relationship with Gesno Marty as they demanded more accountability and better management. But conditions at the orphanage worsened. Eventually, Tim Ballard and OUR cut off Foyer des Sion LLC funding and assigned a director, and the charity was dissolved. Joelle Burge is a former chairman of the nonprofit. She had extensive management training from Princeton and the Wharton School of Business. She told me, It was an uphill battle working with Gesno. We tried to get him a day-to-day operations manager. He was very resistant. The board wanted to fix broken solar panels on the roof. It was challenging getting receipts.
Real thing just piping in here. She would actually be a good person, I think. I haven't done much research into her or her contact, but she would be a really good person to reach out to get another take,
Yeah.
a third-party take about what this guy might have actually been about. I thought about doing that actually.
Yeah. And I also thought about maybe reaching out just to ask if she would like to go on a date.
He resisted attempts to improve the orphan intake system that is keeping track of incoming children. It was a mystery he could afford to educate his children in the United States. I think he had other sources of funding, perhaps preferring to just go with OUR. It was really frustrating.
Well,
We
Princeton
just
and
had
Wharton isn't too far from you.
taking over.
From me?
After the earthquake, Gesno Marty family members.
At least Wharton. Wharton's in New York, right?
I have no idea. I mean, if it's in New York, I mean, I guess it's close. I don't know.
Visas and passports. Marjorie Marty, with daughters Gail, Gesry, and Gloria, went to Utah, then Idaho, then Florida, supported by Haitian Roots Charity Associated Families. Harry's wife and children also moved to the United States. Jude Colas, Gesno's brother.
Okay, not pertinent information.
Family. In 2019, Gesno leaves Haiti and moves to the United States. Or does he?
Mm-hmm.
Tim Ballard said, it's too dangerous for Gesno to stay in Haiti. Gesno is penniless, having spent all of his money searching for Gardy. He needs to be home with his family in Utah.
Ah.
He's been a citizen of Utah this whole time.
Ah.
Tim Ballard pled for donations to help the Marty family come home.
More.
Home in Ballard speak was not Haiti, but you. He wrote, this will be the first time in the 10 years since little Gardy's that Gesno will be under the same roof as the rest of his family, but we cannot do it without your help. This was Ballard's pitch for donations. It's now no longer safe for Gesno to remain in Haiti, and we need to bring the Marty family home to Utah, where they will be safe and can work closely with myself and team to help raise awareness and continue the search for Gardy.
Okay.
Coming from a third world country where all of their money has been spent on searching for their son, the Martys have only the clothes on their back and each other. What they need now, more than anything, is money.
Money!
I mean, Gardy is the kid whose story created Operation Underground Railroad. The more we go looking for Gardy, a funny thing happens. Every time we look for him, we find other kids. Gesno Marty, this father, he's my hero.
We have never given up hope that we will find him.
We have found a way for them to be together.
So whenever we find him, look for him, we find other kids, which is interesting given how many orphanages are set up there, and what, like, the definition of how you found a kid. I mean, you literally could just go in there and say, oh, we found this homeless kid, put him in an orphanage, and then say this is what this person went through. That's what happens there. This is how, because you have $20K you can make for every kid that goes into these damn orphanages.
So is Gardy actually real? Is Gardy gonna turn up in like 10 years or something?
See, that's the schizo shit where it's like we put that part on face value because there's a lot of other stuff we can prove that is suspect going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether or not he's like been fed to a pig or not doesn't change that he's still.
I don't think he was fed to a pig. Nobody does child trafficking and just feeds a kid to a pig or kills it off. Come on.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a child trafficker, but if I were to be, stealing kids,
hypothetically,
I just wouldn't. I mean, I don't have the murderer's instinct, so there's that. I would assume something to do with them, right? I don't know what. Maybe some Johnny Gosh type shit. You know what I mean? Remember him, Johnny Gosh? No,
Johnny Gosh. Gosh.
You don't remember Johnny Gosh? He was the first kid on the milk carton back during the early days of the Satanic Panic, or pre-days of Satanic Panic, back when they were stealing kids and whatnot in America. That's a
the
whole other
OG.
story.
More effectively. And so this will be the first time since Guardy was taken years ago.
Yeah, bitch, give
Were
me money.
settled in a Washington,
Donate and help us help the Marty family.
The apparently penniless Guardies were settled in a Washington, Utah home near St. George. Is Ballard lying? Is it true Gesno faced grave new danger in Haiti and had to leave? Is it true he actually moved to Utah? And is it true he was penniless? A close Marty family.
Then the meta question is what Jimmy asked. Like, is the kid even a
Well, it was.
kid-
I was only reading chat, so credit goes to Dix.
Family friend
Is he real?
Corey MacArthur is not aware Gesno left
some original AI?
Haiti. The MacArthurs knew the
The money is real.
Marty
I mean,
family
I'm
long
sorry,
before
but
the
I gotta
earthquake.
have you pause real quick. But I mean, when you look at the picture of the kid, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I know there's only like so many pictures of him, but looking at him, it's like,
You're looking at, and I think a couple other people in chat are on the same page with me. You're looking at the kid, and I'm looking at the family dynamic, and I'm thinking about like the future of America, and he's also contributing to this shit.
yeah, I hear you. No rebuttal.
Gesno called Carrie MacArthur the day Guardy was abducted. Larry MacArthur was in Haiti and present in one of the FBI's meetings with Gesno. Corey MacArthur spoke with Gesno by phone as recently as March this year. He was in Haiti. He still lives in Haiti, but comes to visit, she said. He's still looking for Guardy. Gesno was working on a new lead that weekend. He has people overseeing the orphanage's operation, she said. And she believes Gesno owns the donor-paid-for orphanage. As I mentioned, OUR took over the orphanage's fundraising. That effort is now a subset of what Ballard calls the Guardy Effect. That is also a project of Operation Underground Railroad. This all happened near the time that Ballard, on his whiteboard chart, showed an orphanage as an OUR entity. And near the same time, Ballard raised money to get Gesno out of Haiti and purportedly moved to Utah. The Guardy Effect has a website. It says the orphanage is for placing Haitian children into forever families. That's Mormon speak for Mormon families. It says Foyer des Sion is an orphanage, child trauma rehabilitation center, and school for children in Haiti, founded by Gesno Marty following the kidnapping of his son Guardy. That's OUR revisionist history. It was formed long before Guardy disappeared. Goes on to say Foyer des Sion aspires to be the leading organization.
And that guy fit the profile of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's really an example of how to waste hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Which also fits the other stories. Oh, we're doing this thing. Here's a kid that escaped, and we can either work with a company nearby it and essentially claim the story.
There's a button on the website to donate, but it's through OUR. There are no Guardy Effect public tax returns to provide transparency. The entity Guardy Center at Foyer des Sion is a Utah DBA established in September 2018. It was formed by OUR's board chairman and accountant, Kelly Wilson. It's owned by
Okay, we can
for
talk about
Tim
that.
Ballard's entity, Liberty 89. John Moreland is a former OUR president. Brad Brower is Apostle Russell Ballard's son-in-law. You might recall he is also involved with slave stealers.
So one circular.
The Liberty 89 team consists of OUR operatives Hugh Vale and Mark Mabry. Vale is believed to be a witness for the ongoing criminal investigation. And Attorney General Sean Reyes is a Liberty 89 speaker. Just what are OUR's plans for its involvement with the Haiti orphanage shown on Ballard's whiteboard? which OUR also calls the Gardy Center at Foyer des Sions. OUR's orphanage director, Jeff Frazier, said, as of July 2020, that means we are developing management and capital departments of child rescues.
It just
This
shows
may
the
indicate
video.
OUR's own admission is a mess. Probably no better than when Gesno Marty ran it into the ground. Despite having millions of dollars in the bank, OUR has not invested much in the orphanage. Instead, continues asking donors to pay for what is a money pit.
Money, make movies, sell tickets, repeat.
In a YouTube
Find story, fabricate story, crowdfund, make film, sell tickets, repeat.
video, it is not an orphanage critic, but OUR's own director who points out the orphanage's squalid state.
There's no running water here. There's no electricity. There is a generator back there.
Too long didn't read TLDR shithole city or shithole country.
I was muted. God damn it. I meant to ask, well, I was asking, how much money do you think is in Timmy's pocket from that movie? Millions,
from that
obviously.
movie?
Yeah, millions, obviously, but do you think it's anywhere
Depends how
near
much-
like 20 more?
It depends what his share was. It sounds like he was pretty close to the producer of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably had some points.
yeah.
You
I
get
mean,
points when you're a producer and you have a certain amount of points in a film, and if it hits good box office, you're usually getting a good amount.
And I wonder how much that compares, because there's a lack of, obviously there's a lack of transparency, but there's a lack of improper filing, which I mean I don't give too much a shit how much, if you want to play the game how you want to, but there's a lack of like, oh, this is a nonprofit, but it's not really a nonprofit because we never set it up that way. Well, now you're doing something, now it's like not just shady, it's like illegal.
Or fraud. Not know how much they've raised or the amount of money they've spent.
Is your answer? We'll never know how much he's making on all
The
this.
public has no idea
Yeah.
how much money over the years or recently has been lost to mismanagement or fraud. Tim Ballard may not know how to run an orphanage, but he is adept at creating an image that motivates donors to contribute tens of millions of dollars to his Finding Gardy.
And I don't know who brought it up before in chat, but they were saying that he's had partnerships and he's worked with and he's done tours with Tony Robbins. And whenever you go listen to this guy speak, I can't get Tony 2020 out of my head, but I also can't get a motivational speaker, which if you go back to the original chart of his, one of the ways he was going to make money wasn't just films, but motivational speaking.
Wait, this guy fucking hung around with Tony Robbins?
Yeah, I think it was in
shit.
one of the Vice articles.
I missed
Child
that.
sex slaves causes. He's been aided by Utah's mainstream news media that disseminates Ballard's propaganda, beginning at the beginning, with Gesno Marty's search for his kidnapped son, and continuing to this day. Aided by Utah's mainstream press that reports propaganda as if it were actual news. Ballard's image making began on day one, that is, at the very beginning of OUR, and Ballard's relationship with Gesno Marty in 2013.
He's a king window dresser.
Tells the story of their first meeting at a Thanksgiving Point, Utah restaurant. Ballard was still an agent with Homeland Security. It's a story he tells over and over, like this interview with his book publisher.
But I believe you met an angel, a mortal angel,
Yes.
named Gesno Marty.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yeah. Yeah,
And
so
what
he
you're
was
doing.
very instrumental in starting, like, father of Operation Underground Railroad. And I learned about this case, and I just, my heart melted, of course, and especially being that he was a bishop. And so I flew him up to the United States, to Salt Lake, and I said, "What's being done to find your son?" And I'm thinking, I'm going to make this a U.S. can do this. He's a U.S. citizen. So I'm going to make this a case, and I start getting to work, right? And I find out in a couple weeks, the DOJ comes back, and they say, "Tim, back off. This is a Haitian crime. You're not going to Haiti. In Haiti by Haitians. Let it go."
Ballard was not truthful in that interview. The DOJ did a crime, even if committed in Haiti. The FBI did investigate, and the United Nations tell. At the same Utah County dinner meeting, as Ballard tells it, I foolishly invited him to the nicest restaurant at Thanksgiving Point. I thought I was doing something kind, but he totally feels out of place. We order this food, and he's looking at it, and then he's just like, this could feed 10 of my kids for a week. He just took like a little bit of the food for himself. He was leaving the next morning, so he's like, this food won't perish. I'll be able.
Stepped away for a second, but the main one that adds to fueling to the fire here to me is the DOJ considered it a crime even if it happened in Haiti. Obviously what happens in American citizens in other places is still a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's another thing where he's trying to make himself and his mission more than it really is. Not saying like it wouldn't be great if other people went out and did stuff, but again, what else is he doing if you're trying to help him? If you're helping him, where is that going and what's it going towards? A circle of jerks
take it back to my
to help this Mormon group.
Kids. And so the myth making begins.
And not just help this Mormon group, but what's it doing to the demographics of our nation?
Gesno had visited the state.
So you're not propping up and helping healing that place.
Many times before the Thanksgiving Point meeting, on fundraisers, reunions, and for Gardy's birth.
Just gotta try.
If a $50 meal would feed 10 kids for a week.
I mean, it used to be one of the most prosperous nations in the world. I think at one point it was the most.
Was it?
And you had all the French. Yeah, and like when the French were there, when white people were there. And then know what happened?
I know what happened.
Tell the people what happened.
I'm not saying shit.
They killed everyone because that's what savages do. And look how that turned out.
Hey.
Weird.
America's on a good track.
Yeah, it's like, oh, white man here. White man build things. Prosperous society. We like this prosperous society.
And then
Is
comes
white man still here. Kill white man.
And then
Why is everything bad now that white man died?
Then comes along Ooga Booga. Ooga Booga, Ooga Booga. Continue, please.
Then a $1,500 airfare multiplied by the number of U.S. visits, multiplied again by the number of family members along with Gesno.
Okay, I'm not taking in
math. Options costing $20,000 to $30,000 each.
There we go.
Amounting to an estimated $75 million, a small cut of which was his profit.
Yep.
At the time of Gesno's Ballard meeting, his family had been living in the United States for 3 years, and his children attending school in Utah, Idaho, then largely paid for by donations. Since then, Ballard has used Gesno Marty repeatedly for fundraising and politicking.
Okay. So as we said, adds up with what we said previously, with what he has a history of doing. Here's a story of another person. I forget what the girl's name began with that, an L. Liliana or something like that. Went through this. Look, we saved him. Do a fact check. No evidence of that anywhere. Might have been saved it in a different way. Still runs with the story. Other people around their profit. You asked the golden question. Obviously, we're seeing that there's money to be made, money to be taken from the parents or the adoptive parents. But it goes back to the question is what this is by definition of how the adoption process works. Because again, he's trying to stop human trafficking. He's trying to stop child trafficking and everything that's happening to these kids. But what would the actual category be? This is at a movie premiere.
Is this a documentary on the whole thing or something? Or is this another movie that I don't...
This this is a clip from a movie premiere of the story of Gardy being taken and this man's involvement at the orphanage.
Okay.
Yes.
Much of Haiti's orphanage system is just another form of human trafficking, fueled by greed and despair. Was Gesno's orphanage, now part of Ballard's whiteboard plan, any different? Any less corrupt? Wrapping up this report, here are some facts about Haiti orphanages. There have been upwards of 723 in Haiti. Adoption became big business, not only for orphanages, but for the Haitian government. Almost no kids in Haiti orphanages are rescued sex and labor slaves. Most are not even orphans, but dropped off by one or more parents. Many Haitian parents, because of poverty and out of despair, cannot feed and educate their kids. Or greedy, wanted kids adopted to rich countries with the expectation of getting back remittances. Which is to say, in Haiti, it got into the lucrative adoption business of selling kids. Haitians' adoption system became one of the most corrupt and least transparent in the world, worsened by the 2010 earthquake and subsequent hurricanes. Here's an orphanage quiz. Is the main goal preserving birth families or selling kids into adopted families? If more donor assistance money goes to helping keep the child's family together than is spent to adopt the child out to a new family, then it is birth family focused. If the number of orphanage children returned to their birth parents exceeds the number placed with adoptive parents, then there's still no priority given to adoptions. If birth parents who are asked to legally relinquish a child are first offered financial assistance, food, education, healthcare, before signing over the child, then yes, still birth family focused. The Marty orphanage would not have come close to passing that test. Like the majority of Haiti orphanages, they were more about selling kids than restoring families. Marty's orphanage was established at the very beginning as a kid adoption outlet, and there's no sign that ever changed. Here's one story, one the Wall Street Journal called a surreal story.
But also, that means it would be a revolving door that once again fits the bill and the story that this guy is looking for. And as we saw previously a few minutes ago, it got hundreds of thousands of dollars in anonymous donations, which their anonymous donations have fun ruminating on that one.
About a month goodbye to her child as she was taken by its adoptive parent. The mother was a worker at a Utah supported orphanage and would not have lacked the resources to support her daughter. Are excerpts from the article. When David Aiken, an internet entrepreneur from Provo, Utah, traveled to Haiti last year to meet a girl he was in the process of adopting, he was shocked to find out that her mother worked at the orphanage. When he learned the mother was there, we thought, we can't adopt her. I couldn't imagine taking a child from her mother, he recalls. But the mother insisted. In the end, David was happy to take her. When he embarked for the airport with the daughter, her mom was smiling on the porch, waving, he recalled to the journalists. It was surreal. Here's the fundamental OUR fallacy. Rescuing so-called child sex or labor slaves or adopting out relinquished children does not attack the root of the main problem, which is poverty. Most child sex workers, sex slaves as Ballard calls them, laborers, in Haiti they're called restavex, and relinquished children were not kidnapped. They're not slaves, even if that's what Ballard wants people to think. Poverty drives many parents worldwide to allow their children, mostly girls, to engage in prostitution, allow their children to engage in child labor such as agriculture, military, and housework, place their children in so-called orphanages for adoption. It takes far less money to keep a child in a poor family than the cost for it to go to an adoptive family. The international children's law and adoption expert, David Smolin, wrote a law review article titled Intercountry, which means across international borders, adoption, as child trafficking. He wrote, "To some, intercountry adoption in itself is more or less a form of child trafficking, as it involves the transfer of children from poor nations to rich nations in order to meet the demand of those in rich nations for children. Others view intercountry adoption as a beautiful act of compassion. Relinquishing parents often earn less than $2 a day. It could be argued that relatively small amounts of money might help keep the child with the birth family. As an ethical matter, it is perverse to spend thousands of dollars taking a child from the birth family when a much smaller sum would have kept the family intact." Thanks for watching. This now becomes...
Okay. So, Jimmy's still there.
Yep.
Okay. So, to tie it all together, I'll address Dick's thing. So your issue is with Tim Ballard and the money to be made, not with the trafficking. His thing is funneling money for the sake of it, these things being made. He's made claims that he's helped people that he hasn't helped, and he's used this and his promotion and his promotional efforts to do just that and make money. Trafficking in its own is its own separate issue, which he has not helped nearly as much as he thinks he has, he says he has, and quite frankly, neither has anyone else who's been paying attention to what he's doing. You've been funding his movie industry the whole time, as far as I can damn well tell. Not just that, this seems like a much bigger thing. So with this guy, you have the funding for his films. You have his plan with how he wants to funnel that money going on in a way to make sure that it stays within his clique. But also you have it going through, or you have him going on everyone connected to Rumble. And I was looking through that Rumble map that, as much as I don't like her work, Amazing Polly put together. There's connecting like Daily Wire and Jordan Peterson's ARC project.
Basically,
and
all the far right, people.
Yeah, that
faces.
era of people and all the people funded by Peter Thiel, Trump's gay billionaire. And
Gay
his
billionaire.
Yeah.
He doesn't
'cause
deserve
he
that money, sir. Sorry. Go on.
Well, there's a lot of people and their investment funds that are connected to Rumble. And you just look at all the right-wing people putting this guy on and using, human trafficking and Christianity to rile up the base once again. And we look at what happened in the first two phases of QAnon, where you had, let's build the place, let's steal the website, let's make sure that there's data mining software. Let's data mine everyone on the mainstream social media platforms. Make sure that there's a downstream effect, that they get this information and they interpret it how it is, because, in the Circadia way, here's the things, here are the drops that are coming out, they'll be interpreted in this way, therefore everyone will be predictable, everyone's actions will be corralled and controlled and predictable, leading towards the 6th. Trump doesn't get the vote, or he did get the vote, or however you want to view it. What happened.
You know what happened? They stole it.
You have phase 3, which was the stop the steal people, bringing everyone to one place, wittingly or unwittingly. That's still what happened. We know that there's FBI involvement, but beyond the fact that there are people who have connections like Ray Epps who were there, the most giving tell that there was involvement was when everyone went into the Capitol, which was when they were breaking up Arizona. That's the tell, not necessarily that there are informants. There are informants in every single damn group out there. But the fact that everyone went during the, of course, everything else, all those things are also reasons that the feds were involved. But going in at the Arizona, when they're bringing up the Arizona ballots, that was a big tell. Now, after that, I believe that this next part,
is phase 4, right? Is that what you're alluding to right now?
Yes.
Okay.
You have all these people under one banner, promoting this, promoting Trump and promoting, of course, being anti-cultural Marxism, which is good, but also promoting civil war. And the one person who's adjacent to this entire camp is Tim Pool, and he's the biggest voice for this. And he's had, enough. Besides moving to West Virginia, just besides having, as you brought up, MGT, Marjorie Taylor Greene on, Lauren Boebert on, ex-CIA guy, Posobiec, who's, if you want to talk about a guy who's been wrong about enough things and has put out tweets to corral and to get the attention of the QAnon people and the MAGA people and the MAGA people. You have him, who I believe he just wants to be another kingmaker more than he already is. And we're in a position, or he's in a position now where he's been making enough money that I wouldn't be surprised that if we see 10 to 15 years from now, he can, I mean, there's enough talk about, like, if we want to talk about people bringing up Civil War, he's the number one content creator there, just spewing it the most. And if I just look at what's going on, I put my chips on, he'd rather have one of his people closer into an administration in the 2030s after domestic conflict would happen in the late 2020s. Which, if anything, domestic civil war like would happen, it would happen around there at the turn of the decade. But I also think he's someone who feels jilted because he's clearly upset that he didn't have the success within mainstream media and Vice. That you have someone who can be profiled, that has a chip on his shoulder, that has connections close to the CIA, has connections close to the tech community, who isn't doing what Joe Rogan could do, but is close to the political realm. And I feel like, well, we have everyone now from the previous operations, psychological operations, corralled in their beliefs, which is basically like, hey, don't give up on the Conservative Party and the Republican Party because, we convinced you that if you just hold on, we're going to change this, this, and this. Meanwhile, nothing's ever happened, and you made 50% of the country look like fucking idiots 6 or 7 years ago. Between things like this, I think they can try to do that again. And I just expect to see more operations going through using those names I just named, because it's really interesting that they would stay as close to these people and everyone promoting these things as fervently as they have without doing the due diligence and research.
So you think that, okay, just jumping ahead like a year from now, I guess. So are you thinking that old Orange Man is going to be in office again?
I don't know. I also don't think it matters too much. I think this next one's a throwaway election.
Okay.
This one's more so about. Go ahead.
I mean, okay, yeah, it could be a throwaway, but still, it's gonna go red though, right? Don't you think?
I don't know. I
mean, go blue
as far as domestic issues, everyone's still going to be polarized either way. Yeah. And I think it's more so, I mean, hey, you know what? It could just be a vote, and whoever has the most people has the most people. Or you could be playing it as, foreign policy is the biggest difference between these guys. The economy is what the economy is, so, and that's because of what Trump did. And you'd rather have someone on the opposing team take over the failing issues that are inevitable because it's part of the system and not part of the, it's not related to one party or the other as much.
Mm-hmm. Dix thinks we're going to war, so it doesn't really matter. I don't think the war thing's gonna be happening. I don't believe that. I think that's just all just to keep us all fucking on our fucking toes. That's just me personally, though. I have no backup on that.
Yeah, this guy did other videos, one or two other videos explaining more Mormon people in the church, like that Robert Ballard guy and his connections.
Does this guy upload kind of frequently, or did he just do stuff a couple years ago and that was it?
Good question.
Is he subworthy? He's only got 2,000. It's not a lot.
So he's the guy who's done the most research on this guy. Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Oh, so he's still kind of doing shit.
Yeah, satanic ritual abuse, and if that's about, and that includes the Ballard guy.
But
That includes, Utah, which it does, then we could, then I did a video that's related to that as well. And I guess he covered the Sound of Freedom too. Probably should have clicked that one instead. But
well, that was a year ago too. So
yeah,
I mean, this guy's been on the following this Sound of Freedom thing really since it's fucking been pre-production. Interesting.
Yeah, and he did. He's part of this website, American Crime Journal, where
pulling it back
it's
up.
like him and one other person are a part of it, and the video was linked in here, and also the tax documents connected to that too. So I think I just sent that to you.
Did you? All right, I want to give him a follow here. Yeah. Oh, can you give me the link to the video?
Oh,
as
the
well?
YouTube.
Yeah. Did you already do that? No, I didn't look up yet.
I sent you the website that he did a big deep dive in all this. Here's the video.
Gotcha.
I guess his channel.
All right, sub to that. Gotta tell you, a lot more interesting than I thought it was going to be. Not gonna lie.
Thank you. I didn't want to spend too much time on the first part, but we still have people to this day, you know, especially even on D Live, that are still showing not necessarily QAnon things, but things that are downstream of QAnon, therefore part of the community. And it's like, I'm done. Like, we're not doing this shit again. You know, you made everyone look bad. Nothing that you said came true. You fell for something that you didn't understand, and it's not their fault that a 50-year-old grandma or a 60-year-old or a 40-year-old who's busy at work doesn't know how these operations go. You know, it's not their fault.
I hear you, dude.
Go.
But I think people get fooled again. You know that, right?
Yeah, and after
gonna
everything that
happen.
happened, yeah, I mean, lemmings will be lemmings and marks will be marks. And the marks serve a purpose, and that purpose is, you know, exactly what we're seeing come to fruition. And it sucks, but I think it was just like, it was a huge red flag. I just felt where I would just see the entire right wing saying one thing, and I'm in a community that's super conservative, and I have, you know, neighbors who are like, oh, we're gonna go see this movie, and I caught a bootleg of it, so I'm like, I saw it, but I didn't pay him anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
And then there's this other thing where it's like, this movie also got made. Like, let's think about that for a second. Think about the movies that were going to get made, that like Chester Bennington said to be a part of, or Bourdain said he was going to help out with, or Avicii was going to put his work towards.
Chris, whatever his name was.
Cornell.
The fuck was
Cornell.
Cornell. Yeah, thank you.
And look at them, list of dead people and dead people around them. Imagine that. Corey Feldman, dude who said he got raped by Charlie Sheen and was scared to name names. And I think he might have named one of them. I forget.
He named the name, and the name was already well known to everybody. Apparently, it was nothing really surprising.
You know, he knows names that we've never fucking heard.
I guarantee that.
And what happens? All of a sudden, he's like, I guess I won't talk about it. Movie's not being made. Next thing you know, his band is on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Can't name his band today. Never heard of it. And you know what, man? Maybe he sold out. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Maybe they also scared the shit out of him, and he's not a strong guy because obviously he went through a lot of hell, and he's a victim for the stuff that he says he went through, and definitely seems like a guy who went through that. So I'm just giving the guy a little bit of sympathy there. I'm sure he's done some messed up things I don't know about it, but if you're in that position where you're around all that power and you know exactly what they can do, it's an unfortunate thing.
Yeah, you don't fuck around and find out, right?
And a lot of people found out, but this movie got made, and it's not impossible. It's not impossible to go to an indie production, even though this one got funded by Gigafund, the one that funded SpaceX. It's not impossible to have an indie production put out a film, and it can be about human trafficking, and it can bring attention to it. And it doesn't have to put someone over, but it can bring attention to it. This is one that put someone over. This is one that got a ridiculous, stupid amount of reviews that don't add up.
And still going.
Still going.
Beat Indiana Jones. The last Harrison Ford Indiana Jones movie it beat. That's
one that just came out of the blue.
Little noteworthy.
On American holiday and beat Indiana Jones and got AstroTurf reviews. And this dude went on every damn podcast and promoted his thing that you can still donate to today, even though there's a documented evidence that wasn't talked about, where he's not going to talk about the people talking ish about him. If anything, he might come after them. But he goes on there and says these things. Meanwhile, his story in the past hasn't added up. It's fabricated stories, and he's profited off these stories that were fabricated or exaggerated. So, you know what? I just when I see the whole world saying this, and I'm like, you know what? Hey, here's this dude who's a piece of shit. I'd rather be the dude saying he's a piece of shit than the dude who got. Because we saw what happened to dudes who got. They end up in these gulags in D.C., dressed as I guess the shaman dude got out or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, of course he did.
Yeah, that was some other stuff too. But like, and I don't know. I just see all this happening, and I just feel like, this is going to be wary of the wolves who wear the clothing of Christianity and human trafficking, because that's exactly what they're going to do, and you're a mark for going along with it. And I'm not going to be gaslit one more fucking day about, oh, you don't care about the trafficking. Oh, you don't care about what's the other thing? You don't care about Jesus? Shut the fuck up. This isn't how you save these, You come up with a real plan and know what your actual enemy is.
Sorry, I'm just making sure I sent you that link. Oh, I sent it twice.
Thanks.
It's
Hab made a video, or Hab sent a video. Not Hab, sorry. Cub sent a video. Or not Cub, she's Tigerkin today. Fucking hell. Sent a Odyssey video of one I made about him talking about what his wife... The conversation he had with his wife before going on this I'm Gonna Save a Kid adventure, which you might find entertaining.
Hold on a minute. I didn't keep track of links here.
Oh, yeah.
Is it a long form thing?
It's like 3 minutes.
Alright, I'll play this and then I'm going to bed.
Cool. How'd I do?
Huh?
How'd I do?
How'd you do? Oh, yeah, you killed it.
Alright, cool.
I think you kept everybody entertained. That's for damn sure.
That's what I'm here for. Who said I need Hab? It's good to have around, of course, but
well,
in his absence, I shall entertain.
I hope one day Hab comes back, but let him do his thing. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather all of us doing what's best for us than putting content out or whatever.
Do your thing. That's all I say. As long as there's no ill will and doors shut forever. I mean, do your thing.
Nah, it's not that at all. We're a good team.
That goes both ways, 3 ways, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
I think whenever somebody has something to show, him or me, I'm sure we're all gathered back together as a family. All right, so here is the Odyssey link that Tiger. This is you going off on this, Michael?
I play it and then I say something at the end.
Okay. We'll have this be one of the last little thingies here we play, and then we'll sign off.
Cool.
Of Haitian descent, 2 years old.
Oh, I don't know if you can see this. Should I share my screen to you? Hold on.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see if I can do this right.
I have the D Live.
There we go. So you can see it in real time. I think I got it right.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go.
The family moves him back to Haiti. He is kidnapped out of the church where his father's the pastor. Kidnapped, trafficked. I learned about this story. I meet the father. I'm thinking, this is a U.S. citizen. I can go find this. He was born in Utah, and I had been transferred to Utah recently at that point. So I'm working this case. I'm told, come home. This is a Haitian crime. But I promised the father.
Wow.
I promised the father I would never stop. At the same time, I'm down in Colombia, and this is the part you see in Sound of Freedom, consulting, and I was given permission. If you listen to the film, it's accurate. I was given permission to consult.
Tio, so I see. I'm looking at you just because you have no facial hair, really. How was this last year? 21? How long ago is this?
Couple days.
Oh, you're baby faced right now. Okay.
I got some stubble.
Okay.
I should be back soon.
Right.
And as you see,
it's hot, dude. It's been like 110 the past couple days.
I hear you. Trust me. I was actually moments away from buzzing my head, but then I'm like, I'm gonna be talking to Michael. I don't want everything to be focused on the shape of my head, so I'm gonna wait on that.
I kept my beard for a good week more than I wanted to because I thought we were recording too. And then I shaved it a bit, and then I'm like, all right, I got it the way that I want. And then I'm like, you know what? I remember looking really damn good, and then it wasn't the case. But I got a great jawline, so I wanted to remind myself about
got a great job. Hey, at least you know you're fucking, you're positives.
I'm beautiful. Yeah, I got the perfect nose, and I got a nice jawline, and I can figure out the rest.
Hey, good for you, buddy.
And I got an above average dick. That keeps me happy too. But
real quick, just thanks, hey Royston Radio. Appreciate you. Appreciate the follow and Haiti you back.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, welcome aboard, my friend.
I hope you caught on the show earlier.
And yeah, same here. If not, give the replay a watch. Hopefully it doesn't be taken off because of DLive's term of service, whatever. But we're just about the tail end of the stream, just so you know. We started pretty early tonight.
You should end the stream with some music in the background with the video I linked in the chat. I don't know if you watched them when you were drunk or not, but
no, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
Your show, your ending.
Yeah.
And then they said, hey, where's the American? Where's the leads? I said, I feel it. It's here. Come home. So that was 2 in 2013. And I called my wife and I was like, what do I do? Like, my heart is breaking. Like, these kids will be rescued. These kids will be rescued. But if I leave, I mean, I'm the bait. I'm the point on this case. And she, you see in the movie, right? Where is this okay? It's going.
Yes.
You do it?
Absolutely.
That's why you're here. I just keep. But in the movie, Mira Sorvino, who plays my wife, Academy Award-winning, amazing actress, and it's one of my favorite lines in the film because it's so powerful. It's much more powerful in real life. But she says, "Just quit your job and rescue those kids," right? And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it." But that's not what really happened. Okay, Eduardo and the team didn't want me to show the true cowardice that I manifested at this time in late 2013 because it was. I said, "Well, Catherine, if I come home, it's over." But I keep my job. I have to quit my job to do this. I talked to. I mean, I was calling the DHS ethics office. Can I do both? Like, no, you can't do both. You can't moonlight. You got to quit, or do the case. And she said, and so her line was supposed to be, well, get your butt home because we got 6 kids and yet we have no money. Like we have a couple thousand, stocked away, stocked away in the bank or something. And she didn't say that. She didn't say that. She said, could you save the kids if you stayed there? I said, yes. Yes. She's like, why? It was almost like embarrassing. Like, why are you even asking me this question?
Wow.
She said, we have a meeting with our maker. We will be dead in 50 years anyway. She said, I don't care if we live in a tent. These are exactly her words. I don't care if we're in a tent because we lose our house. You have to do this. You have to try. And I like a coward. Like, are you kidding me? What about my own kids? I got to take care of my own 6 kids.
Yeah,
like,
pause,
they'll be
pause.
fine.
So this guy, so he says, "Oh, I got 6 kids and like $2,000 in the bank account. Oh, I'm still gonna do." Just the stories that he tells, like, you know how Porcelain did the doc on Burt Kreischer? It's like, yeah, no man lies as much as this guy. Porcelain should do a doc on this guy. That's what I thought of when I saw this clip.
Porcelain is way too caught up in Isolab drama, but yeah, I'm with you on that.
I didn't see that one coming. I saw his docs before. I should have known that when I saw the Baked Alaska one came out.
Yeah, he's stuck in his world. So he doesn't when it comes to conspiratorial shit like this, he doesn't really dig into.
Leave it to Hab and I.
Yeah, exactly. It's for other people like you guys. And me, I just play it and just go, ooh. That's it. That's all I can. That's all I can apply.
Hey, we need that guy too. All right, carry on.
She finally to the point where she just gave it to me in one line that didn't make it in the movie because again it would have manifested my cowardice. But one line this is verbatim. It ended the debate. It shook me to my core because she's usually very sweet. And she said, and this is a quote, "I will not let you jeopardize my salvation by not doing this." And I remember my whole body just kind of shook. I was just like, oh my gosh. Like
that is an incredible woman.
There is so much.
Okay, listen, I'm not buying that Catholic crap for a second. Listen, I hate to break it to you, but if you're ever in a situation like that and your wife's saying that, I hate to break it to you, but your wife's cheating on you. I'm just in this other country. I could save all these kids. I could also come home. We got 6 kids, and we got $2,000 in the bank, and I can figure this out. All right, I'll be right home. No. That's fine. You stay right there. You stay way the fuck over, dude.
I'm Lynn
she's
Packer
fucking your brother
with
or
OUR
something like
Op-Ed
that,
10.
Oh.
Tim Ballard's
Hold on a
secret
minute. Something
plan
started
to
playing. God damn
monetize
it.
and
What happened?
proselytize his
Wait.
involvement with Operation Underground Railroad. With new information about
What'd I do?
Gizmo Marty and Russell
Where's my
Ballard.
shit? Oh, here it is. Okay. God damn it. Sorry. Unprofessionalism happened. Now I'm embarrassed.
And if you wanna, you can click that video in the corner too.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Let me pull it back up.
I forget what that one's about.
Wait.
Angel Studios. The top right one might. If that's
Wait,
the one
are
I
we on
think
the right?
it is.
God damn it.
Yeah,
I have too many. Am I on the right one? I don't know.
Yeah, now it's the same on both places.
The Odyssey one?
Yeah. And where it says Mormon-led Angel Studios
yeah.
lawsuit. If that's the one I'm thinking, you can click that.
It's June 1st. That means it's Pride Month.
Yeah,
There's no
that's what I was
escaping it.
thinking.
Unless you're fortunate enough to be aligned with the Roman Catholic Church, and it's the month of the Sacred Heart of Jesus, which is a lot different, I think. Let's check in with our Rome correspondent, our Vatican correspondent, frankly, our European correspondent. You're not really our correspondent at all. You work for the Daily Wire, but we're going to own you for 10 minutes. Bree Dale, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
Firstly, you've been doing some
She
great
went
writing
more
and great
into
reporting, and I
the
appreciate
Roman,
that.
or not the Roman, the Mormon family's financial drama with different studios and the creation of the other TV shows they had.
At Daily Wire and also on your social media platforms. What is this story with Angel Studios and the series The Chosen? We love The Chosen here, but it looks like there's a little bit of turmoil.
Not a little bit. Sadly, this has been 2 years worth of my research. And it started off actually when I ran across an article, Larry, on a VC, a venture capital group, GigaFund, which is actually Elon Musk's venture capital group, awarding $47 million to Angel Studios. And I said, wait a second here. I thought they were nonprofit. And so I started to look into this. And it made me dig all the way back to the founding of VidAngel, what occurred with them, what happened with a 2020 lawsuit. And then ongoing, they went to the VCs asking for money, even though they were promoting this idea of pay it forward, asking Christians to donate to them in order to keep the chosen running. Well, from what I have gathered from the lawsuit that I posted on my Substack, there's a lot of corruption at the very high tops of both Angel Studios and sadly now Mormon run the Chosen, and it's Mormon run now because the president of the Chosen was the former chief distribution officer of Angel Studios. And all the while, they're making lots of money and not telling their donors. So even today, they are still pushing the whole pay it forward. There's a lot of questions. And I came across that lawsuit, Larry, just because I dig and I dig and I dig. And I had to think that there was some kind of stipulation legally, and I found it in Salt Lake City, sadly.
Now, listen, so far, Mormon theology has not crept its way into the telling of the story, at least not that I have seen. There have been
Not
rumors, there have
true.
been concerns. Oh, no, all right, tell me, what did I miss?
So it's interesting because Dallas Jenkins mentioned this when Mormons went on the social media. I believe it must have been season 3. I admit I've not seen since season 2, since all of this started to unfold. I said I can no longer promote it. Personally, I'm very disappointed in this. But so from what I've been told, the character of Jesus quotes supposedly Moses' statement that is never found in the Bible. And here we go. We hear from the Mormons, oh, he quoted from the book from Joseph Smith. So it's pretty clear. There have been people at play behind the scenes, and perhaps Dallas didn't know, but it does seem like the lawsuit shows a collaboration between Dallas and Brad Pello, the now president of the Chosen.
I'll have to track that quote down. I missed that. And I guess if you're not a member of the Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, maybe you wouldn't
You
notice
wouldn't
it.
know. Yeah.
I do know that Jonathan Romy, the actor who plays Jesus, is a very devout Catholic. I think he's a member of the Knights of Templar, which is a pretty hard guy. That's no Knights of Columbus thing. They're a pretty hardcore devout group.
I think they're a non-denominational group, so I don't believe that's aligned with the Catholic Church. Hopefully, he'll be he'll come in with other of the different knights from the old times, but from the Crusades and whatnot. But I don't believe this group is, but he is a Catholic, and I know that he has because he is a friend of mine. He has been exploring to go deeper and deeper into his faith. He was born within the Orthodox Church, and then his entire family, when he was young, came into the Catholic Church, which is not so surprising if you know his background. But he is diving deeper, and I do know that he has some individuals who have played a role in his formation. Let's keep praying for him. But he is an actor, Larry, and he's not really, I don't believe, very much involved within the corporate side of things. So it's very clear that the actors, Larry, especially during that 19 months where they were not working, they weren't paid. And so I'm sure that actors started to ask, like, what was happening? And now, sadly, we can see what was happening behind the scenes in the lawsuit.
Speaking of the fact that they're actors, and we shouldn't confuse their personal lives with the roles they play, either as the Savior or as the apostles. We see a couple of actors now. Our friend Mary Margaret Olahan over at Daily Signal, she has seen a couple of these actors proclaim their fealty to Pride Month and to the LGBTQ agenda. I think that the audience, the audience and the fans of The Chosen should take this into account, that we shouldn't confuse what they do in their personal lives with the roles that they play. They're not saints.
Yeah, they're not saints, and they're certainly not themselves. I think the individual who plays Little James put out a statement in support of the LGBTQ plus one, whatever else you want to add to their acronym agenda. But let's just be very clear. You're going to find that in working talent in Hollywood. But what you're not going to see, and I think where a lot of this controversy came out was, allowing that type of thing on a Christian set. You do have standards and rules that you can abide by and enforce. And clearly The Chosen came out in their Facebook page and kind of they didn't walk back it at all. They actually defended it. So with this, plus what we see behind the scenes with all of this money and lack of communication to donors and really corporate scandal, it just seems to add up that there's a lot of facade here, but in practice, not a lot of real Christian faith. And I should also add, Larry, in my article, I do make mention of an individual who is a high executive who was stranded here in Rome. That's a whole nother story, but I don't even know of a disabled individual who's been an employee in other secular companies who would be stranded without any support in a foreign country. So it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, it's a small production company that apparently grew real fast, and they've got a lot of cleanup to do here. One thing that's disconcerting, Bree, and I will continue to watch your pretty much standalone reporting on this issue, is the fact that the producers behind The Chosen, whenever they put out press releases, whenever they talk about their crowdfunding strategies and the creation of their product, it's always sort of they utilize the language of a mission. It's not a production company. They're not making a series. It's a mission. They use Christian evangelical language to give a wink and a nod to the audience that this isn't just about making movies and making money. It's a bigger
Sounds
story
familiar.
to tell. And so, they got to square that circle, I think, if they're going to appeal to those of us who really do want to support a mission.
So you have a
One
group
of the
of
things that
people.
really drew me to the series at the beginning was the story
I'll let her
behind it. I
finish.
interviewed both Dallas Jenkins and Jonathan Rumi before the launch of the second season, where I did hear from Dallas about the humility that brought about this inspiration. And it does seem like there's been a 180, even in the language, even in the writing, between seasons 2 and 3, when this 19-month debacle came out. And a lot of this money came in. And just like anything else, when you're dealing with religion and faith, you have to walk the walk before you talk the talk. And it does seem to me that there's a lot of money being made off of the name of God, and that comes with scandal.
Real fast, Bree, because there's a lot going on in Rome with the Vatican. Sometimes I have sympathy for Pope Francis because
Yeah, you can
he has
pause
to
it
deal
there.
with his bishops.
Then it goes more into Pope news, but that's kind of the point. Is there's money being. All right, so even if you want to be like, well, don't you care about God or the children? All right, well, there's money being made off this with that specific purpose. You have the JD Vance Naria project that also funds gene therapy, but also funds Rumble. You have Peter Thiel funding Rumble. You have the international or the intellectual dark web people. You have all these pockets of right-wing media and funding and networks and sub-networks like the Blaze. And when I just see all these groups separated out and who has a hand that can direct, can use their audience that is close enough to bringing in close to TV network numbers, or could justify that with the time slot, who's young enough and holding on to an audience that would be the future, and promoting this Civil War thing that has, ex-feds, if there is a such thing as ex. That's why I say, phase 4 of this, we've seen everything that comes from the first 3 phases. We see this being used as a giant shield. And I just want to throw my in before out there that I think Tim Pool's going to be the snake for it.
It's interesting that you point to him, but I mean, it does
It's not.
it doesn't.
He's not part of that giant Rumble network. He's not part of that Joe Rogan network, and he's not part of that Naria network. He has these politicians on. He interviews them, and Joe Rogan shies away from that, while Tim is open to that. And he has a chip on his shoulder from from his history with Vice.
Oh,
and it
he
just
sure as
seems
fuck does. I mean, obviously we see how cocky the guy is.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm someone who had a who had a very strong nepotism, good friends connected into radio. No one that would make me a household name, but on a good local level. And I'm like, you know what? Let's start a show, and then I'll see if we can partner in the future. And it still would have been, the right wing audience back home is very small as it was. It would have been a nice community thing, especially if I moved out there. But COVID happened and George Floyd happened down the street. And I'm like, you know what? It's a really glad thing I didn't do that. So I know what it's like to have a chip on your shoulder and play what if, what if. But he just seems like a guy who wants to grab that power.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
I see D-Ball saying Tim Paul already has a huge following. Now, you know what? All these things and how he plays it, he doesn't care about that stuff. I don't know. I just see the people that he's around, and whenever there's a boycott or whenever there's a cultural thing going on, he acts as if he's the general. And he acts as if, you know what? Oh, the DeSantis campaign used AI for this or that. They better apologize. Like, he knows what he's doing when he says that.
Yeah.
He knows who he's talking to, and they know that he's talking to him. And it's just a matter of, can this MAGA wave of the Bobers and the MGTs and the other people he has on have enough of effect? And I know it sounds like that's like I've been right about a lot of things.
Right about everything, Michael.
For the past 9 years, and hey, I'm one of the best in the network that isn't dealing with the stupid drama stuff. But I mean, best in the sector, I should say. And I know that's a stretch, and things could go different ways. But I just, once I saw this movie happen, and I saw everyone pay attention, I'm like, this all just kind of clicked, and I want to be the first other to say it.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like,
yeah.
This is a scary thing, looking at lemmings running in this direction. So,
hey, you got my support, man. I'm with you. I'm with you.
God, some people are fucking dumb.
Well, it's not some. It's more than that. Unfortunately.
But we're all right. We're all right.
Yeah,
some of us.
For the most part. Except Dick's. That bitch.
That dick. And banned.
Oh, well, God damn it. I can't say that. Shit.
We're out.
I'm just kidding. D Live.
All right,
Love
now
Dick's.
play some fucking 80s music in the background to Ibushi beating up the sex doll for 5 minutes. I need a palate cleanser from talking about all that.
Not even gonna be that.
Hey, Dix, you say fuck you, Jimmy. I still like you, not as much as I like Tiger though. Tigers are the favorite. But,
Dix, I thought you were asleep.
And we're banned.
Oh God, now we gotta. Oh Jesus, now I'm getting nervous about the chat again. I need you guys. You get
Whose
me
side are you
canned.
on? Every week it's I'm gonna email Jimmy. Jimmy, are you gonna be here? We're gonna be here an hour early. We're gonna unionize. Oh wait, that's me saying that. Where are you? Are you gonna be here? Are you gonna stream next week? We need you to stream. We rely on you for entertainment. Comes to chat, instantly tries to get him banned.
Seems to be the fun game everybody plays around here.
You're fun. You're easy to mess with. You're fun to mess with. That's your problem.
I react accordingly. It's called overreacting. Do I really mean what I say when I'm acting like that? No.
Hey, I'm not a
narcissist.
Hey, I'm not a boastful narcissist. I just play one in real life.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Hey, it's what I tell myself, so I don't have to kill myself.
All right. Listen. Let's wrap this up so I can go to bed. So everybody can go to bed. Although I know everybody's an insomniac, but I'm going to sleep because I hear the birds chirping. I'm 6 deep. I'm ready for some sleep.
Cool. Can I have a copy of this in the morning?
I have been recording for the past 3 hours, so yeah, I could give you it. I could give you it.
Base.
Shoot me a DM or whatever. Just give me a reminder. I'll send it to. Actually, it'll take a minute to convert, but yeah, I'll do some minor computer work for you, Michael.
Sounds good. It might be like 3 gigs or something, but I don't know.
It'll be up there, but I can attempt to compress it a little.
Cool. D-Ball, I'm glad that you liked it. I don't always know if I can do these things solo, if I'm being entirely honest. That's why
Yeah,
I always
I know.
have a
That's why you need somebody to talk at. So I'm here for you.
I can practice by myself too, but I don't know. When I started this out years ago, actually it was 2019 or 18. There's just something I felt that was disingenuous about just talking to a screen or a camera by yourself. I just felt like that was an unnatural way to do things, but in hindsight, I'm like that should probably deliver some kind of balance for it. So
yeah,
you got it down. So
apparently, I don't know. Oh, trust me, Michael. Having alcohol helps a bit. And it sucks because that's a crutch, and I really shouldn't have a crutch. And to be quite honest, all day today, I was like, let's just do a sober stream. I'll do a sober stream. And then I went to the store because I had to, and I'm like, fuck it. I'll buy this low percentage beer. And
how much does it affect your productivity the next day? Out of curiosity.
Booze-wise?
Or you got it. Or do you have it down because of?
I mean, it's really weird, dude. Last week I had some high percent. I think I had 8%ers last week, 4 of them, tall boys, and I felt like $1,000 the next day. To be honest with you, it's
Cool.
weird. And then another time I could have like 6% beers, 4-pack of 6% beers, and then I'd be feeling like a pile of shit. It's weird. I don't know. I ate a lot. I try to always eat. I try to make sure I have food in my stomach before I have any type of alcohol. Every time I do, it's always different. It's weird. Next day, don't know. You'll never know. What was that?
You know, it makes sense having carbs before.
I did have a lot of pasta tonight.
That'll do it. I don't know. I've been cutting out. I've been going low carb for a while. So getting in the best shape of my life. But now I'm more powerlifting, so I gotta and it's 110 every day, so I don't just eat whatever I want. It doesn't matter. Sweat it out.
Yeah, it's a little bit different over there, for you. I mean,
plus I stocked up on a bunch of nice Mike's Hard Lemonade because I was scared they're gonna go woke. So
no, Mike's will always be there for you. Don't you worry, buddy.
Are they perishable? Should I be drinking those?
No, you shouldn't. No, there's a big K on that. If you catch my drift.
Oh.
There's always a big listen. If there's a K with a circle around your product that you're putting in your body, you probably shouldn't be. And you know what that means, right?
Is it a kosher thing? I don't get it.
It's been blessed, yes. It's been blessed by yes.
Wait, I'm confused. Is Mike's in a bottle? Is that perishable or is it not? Because now I'm worried if I should get a drinking habit.
Don't ask me these things. I don't know.
All right, okay, got it. Wrong guy.
If my buddy Jared was in this chat, he'd tell you, but I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I'm retarded.
D-Ball cut his soda consumption by 75%.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I did that. Probably 10 years ago, and I tapered with lemonade, and that helped a lot.
Yeah, my soda consumption is very, very low. I think I have maybe a soda every couple of months. That's my extent of soda.
Have you heard of Zevia? They have that in your stores.
Zionism? What?
Zevia?
No, I don't know what that is.
I guess it has it doesn't have sugar in it, and it's still carbonated, but it has some artificial sweetener that isn't as bad and 0 calories. So something to look.
I haven't.
Yeah, tastes just like Sprite. Tastes just like a bunch of every good flavor. Cherry, vanilla, grape, you name it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'll try to keep an eye out for it. I'll try to remember it. I'm not much of a consumer. At this point in my life, I've been very much into water, to be honest with you.
Water's good.
Which I haven't been having a lot of this past week, but I try to make it my main squeeze. You know what I'm saying? That and green tea.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, mixed with kratom when I need it, of course.
Yeah, my weakness has been those monsters that have like tea and lemonade in it.
Oh no.
So, yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes you need the energy.
Sometimes
Anyway.
you just gotta have a Babylonian drinky.
Yeah, but now's the time I don't need energy. We got to bring this one home. How's that for a segue? Best in the game.
Listen,
sir.
No apologies needed. It was a good stream, man. I know you're not hearing the birds yet chirping, but I sure am, and I gotta go to sleep. All right, I'm tired. I'm trying not to get cranky here.
Okay, bye.
No, you don't have to go like that.
We haven't gotten these outros done.
No, it's always been a struggle. But why don't you tell everybody exactly where we are located, Michael?
I mean, I have your address, but I don't think you want me to put that out.
Don't break the rules of Discord or DLive.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You can find his streams sometimes uploaded and sometimes even at That's What Happened.tv. And sometimes Jimmy and I do an after show. An after show to this late night show that's recorded in the afternoon and sometimes aired in the evening, called the East West Express. And you can also find my local coverage, my solo shows where I cover, my analysis of what's going on in the world, and the rest of Right About Everything on TWH shows, 2 words, TWH shows on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And Right About Everything, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and also Don't Come Find Me, because that's weird.
This will be up. Is this whole combo going to be up on the podcast version of whatever you brought up a second ago?
If we can get it cut to the start, or I mean, if you want to give me the whole thing, I could cut it myself.
I mean, it's a pretty easy cut, I'm sure. I think it was a matter of like 20 minutes, and then I was already having you on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard cut, and then off to the races, and might cut.
Shoot me the message, and because I gotta compress it anyways. It'd be a lot quicker if I could send you something under a gig rather than 3 gigs. So just be like, hey, cut it to when I come on, and I'll do that and send it over to you. And then
sounds good. All right, I'm trying to say goodbye.
I know, but and here we are talking technicals and whatnot. But anyways, regardless, whatever you heard tonight, this 3-hour thingy should be up around That's What Happened by tomorrow evening, and possibly over on Apple.
Yeah, find me there, and you find him here, and that's it. See ya.
Mike, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate it. It was a good informative show tonight.
Always glad to help, and hope to do it in the future. Open that damn chest and have a good night.
We'll do. Yeah.